let's see. I forgot my other device. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Voice of Sinoe in the Diaspora with Esoteric. Another brand new edition with brand new guests on the show this afternoon. It's still in the morning on my side here. It's 11:52. All right, so we're going to build our audience, and once I'm ready, I will shoot a message to my guests. We'll have a special guest on the show this morning or afternoon shortly. Let me see. Let me double check my audio over here. All right, I think my audio sounds very good here. All right, I think my audio sounds very good here. All right. My guest is punctual. He's backstage, but what I'm going to do is to build the audience a little bit before I bring him on. So we're going to do some commercials here. As you get on, please share the link for us. He's a quite educated guy in our country. And I have a fundamental disagreement with him with respect to the code of conduct. And I'm not a lawyer, but he's going to educate us on why they say that Mr. Grigsby hasn't resigned. Why? I mean, that's why we're here this morning. It's not wrong to learn things from people that know stuff. And so that's a conversation. It's not something to fight. We are here just to understand, okay? It's not Mr. Grigsby alone that understands the law. Why the people that resign, they don't understand the law? We're going to go into it. And so share for us. Let me do some commercial. I'll be right back.
If I show you love, you show me love. Love like love. If I show you love, you show me love. Love like love. If I show you love, you show me love. Love like love.
L'argent est fini, ma bébé, là où est fao. L'argent est fini, ma bébé, là où est fao. Quand on est là-bas, où est fao. Je veux ma bébé, là où est fao. Allez, you power. I can never leave you on the highway. You my baby. As I do,
If I show you love, you show me love. Love like love. If I show you love, you show me love. Love like love. If I show you love, you show me love. Love like love. If I show you love, you show me love. Love like love.
Photo, I want a photo. I will not get you photo. I will not get you photo. Photo, I'm not get photo. I want a photo. Let me take a photo, yeah. Smile for me, just place up for me. Tell me now who I want to be with. L'argent est fini, ma bébé, là où est fao. L'argent est fini, ma bébé, là où est fao. Quand on est là-bas, où est fao. Je veux ma bébé, là où est fao. Allez, you power. I can never leave you on the highway. You my baby. As I do,
If I show you love, you show me love. Love like love. If I show you love, you show me love. Love like love. If I show you love, you show me love. Love like love. If I show you love, you show me love. Love like love. If I show you love, you show me love. Love, 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 love.
L'argent est fini, ma bébé, là où est fao. L'argent est fini, ma bébé, là où est fao. Quand on est là-bas, où est fao. Je veux jusqu'au ma bébé, là où est fao. Allez, you power. I can never leave you on the highway. You my baby. Answer to, c'est tout. C'est tout.
If I show you love, you show me love. Love, 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 like love. If I show you love, you show me love. Love, 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 like love. If I show you love, you show me love. Love, 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 like love. If I show you love, you show me love. Love, 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 like love.
Photo, I want your photo. I wanna get you photo. I wanna get you photo. Love photo, I'm not get photo. I want your photo. Let me take your photo, yeah. Smile for me, just play stop for me. Tell me now who I want to be with. L'argent est fini, ma bébé, là où est fao. L'argent est fini, ma bébé, là où est fao. Quand on est là-bas, où est fao. Je veux jusqu'au ma bébé, là où est fao. Allez, you power. I can never leave you on the highway. You my baby. Answer to, c'est tout.
If I show you love, you show me love. Love, 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 like love. If I show you love, you show me love. Love, 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 like love. If I show you love, you show me love. Love, 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 like love. If I show you love, you show me love. Love, 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 like love.
I don't really stick on a long time. The record, mash up the place.
Okay, you're not able to take care of Babu Nebo. You're not able to bust the rata Babu Nebo. Oh, soldier, monkey calm down. Oh, monkey calm down. Monkey calm down. Oh, monkey calm down. Monkey calm down to you. Monkey calm down to you. Monkey. Oh, soldier, monkey calm down to you. Monkey calm down to you. Monkey calm down to you. Once upon the time, in the jungle, there lay so many animals and so many trees. During the day, there were no restriction. Anytime, any day, anyone used to corrupt and go outside free in the jungle, yeah. After they realized that everything was good, I said everyone were only after the food. Majority of the people went beyond babu.
Yeah, guys, everybody went beyond babu. All right, guys, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Voice of Sinoe in the Diaspora with ESOTERIC coming to you live from the Tri-State region, these United States of America. I am quite excited this afternoon from my end to have a good conversation with our fine son of Liberia, a fine son of Sinoe County. You know, his name is Maxwell Grigsby, is my special guest this afternoon. So as you join again, please share the link for us. The man is a lawyer, you know, man eat a law. And so we're going to be having a law conversation on the morning. I'm not a lawyer, but my job is to ask questions. You know, I like to tickle people with questions, and that's what I do. You know, I'm a philosopher. I'm a student of philosophy. You know, so law is a branch of philosophy. So we're going to engage the honorable man this afternoon. He wants to be our leader. He wants to replace Creighton Duncan. You know, so he cannot be coming to office and it appears as though he is violating the law. Okay, again, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to, but from the conversation, you're going to tell whether he is violating the law or not. But now, before I bring my guests on here, you know what I do here. We want to give you quick commercials here, reminders of things that are coming up, and then I will bring my guests on. So we just want to remind you quickly to say the date. Pretty soon, the wedding of Claru and Tina Manning, their wedding is coming up pretty soon. It will be in Des Moines, Iowa. And so if you have not purchased your ticket, please do so now. We will be out there as well to support the brother and sister in what they're about to do. We also want to remind you, Goni and Marie, their wedding also coming up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania is July the 22nd, 2023 in Philadelphia. And Claru's wedding is July the 8th, 2023. Okay, so these are two major events that you want to keep track of. The Sincon community in the U.S. as well, their national second annual convention is scheduled for this. I think this weekend is coming up. It will be let me see the flyer, the 8th. It says it starts on the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th. So 3 days. So pretty soon today is the 5th. And so a few days, I think starting Thursday or so. So be part of the Sincon convention. We'll be there as well. Of course, the National Convention of the United Southport Association in Americas is also coming up. It will be held in Minnesota, August the 3rd to the 6th. So save that weekend as well. It'll be the major event of the Southport Association. It will be presidential election as well. President Francis Clark Myers will be up. I have been thinking what I should go against all, but people are calling me and say, "Oh man, let a woman exhaust, you know, a second term," just the same way people are saying, "No, George Weah got to exhaust it 12 years." And you know, it's a democratic competition. So let's see whether President Francis Clark Myers can subdue dark side put it esoteric. All right, so these are the commercials I have for you. And let me do that right now. Without further ado, I'd like to bring my distinguished guest on here. And Maxwell Grigsby is my special guest on the show this afternoon. Hopefully the internet will be very nice to us. All right, let's see. I can bring this down. All right, Maxwell, welcome to Voice of Sinoe.
Thank you, my dear brother. It's always my honor to have the pleasure to speak to our people in Liberia, outside of Liberia, and I'm honored to be having my debut on your very credible and well internationally acclaimed show. Thank you so much for extending me the invitation.
No problem. You're welcome. How is Liberia?
Oh, wonderful. Things are a bit challenging, but on the overall, we are grateful to God that we're making progress. Unlike, many years ago where we were practically benefiting almost everything from the international community, for the first time in almost 18 years, the government of Liberia is funding almost everything from the election to security and many other things that were taken care of by international partners over the last 12 to 18 years. So yeah, the economic situation seems a bit challenging, but we're becoming more responsible as a country. And we are doing away from the dependency syndrome. So that comes with pain, and then we're managing.
Okay, so when you say the economic situation is a bit challenging, when you say bit, how small is it?
So, for instance, generally across the government is the biggest spender in Liberia. And interestingly, because the government have to put in the last 2 months 47 million in the conduct of election, they have to cut down on payment for goods and services, which could otherwise stimulate the economic growth, and put money in the pocket of business people. So that difficulties, which seems to be a contraction in the economy, is affecting not only the businesses, but by extension, individual Liberians, especially in the country where our country is now more private sector driven. So there's a bit of challenge, and we can all admit to that. But it is not because the government, is not making the kind of strive needed. It is because donors have said Liberia is no more a toddler that we sit and expect everything in hand out. The country has to be responsible for herself. So this is the first time in 18 years that we're putting more than 50 million in the conduct of election. In the last 12 years, for instance, security, you had the presence of thousands, of both military police, other personnel from other countries paid by the United Nations. But everything about security, my dear brother, we put almost 21 million in security. That money could have otherwise been used for something else to stimulate economic growth. So these are the kinds of expenditure, that are causing a bit of difficulty. For instance, in the last 3 months, we had some challenge in getting salaries to be paid on time. Had we otherwise transferred that money to pay in salary, if we did not have to spend 47 million on net, for instance, to conduct election, we could not have had that delay. The money we are paying on security up to 21 million. That money could have been saved to maybe invest in education, invest in agriculture, or other areas. But
Maxwell, let me come in a little bit here. So would you say the country is safe security-wise?
Comparatively, yes, it is.
Compared to what?
Comparatively with, for instance, Guinea, because we have to look within the Mana-Royum Basin. Guinea, Sierra Leone, Ivory Coast, yes, we say we are better off. In the last 6 to 8 months, for instance, in Freetown, we had a very difficult situation between both state security and civilian, to the extent that civilians were threatening, to take over from the elected government. They were demanding that the president of their country return. Similarly, in Guinea, we've seen the situation of the coup in Guinea, which is just next door. In Liberia, over the last 5 years, we have had some of the biggest demonstrations and protests. Instead of us having the same exchange, we've seen, for instance, state security officers provide to protesters soft drink, water,
So Maxwell, you sound like an apologist of the government. But
I am a member of the Congress for Democratic Change, by extension, the Coalition for Democratic Change. I'm a junior cabinet minister, and I'm not speaking because I'm in the government. You see, I take some high positions, but I will not hesitate or mince my words to say what the reality is. It is the reality that we are making strides, and we are better off in terms of the security situation in Liberia compared to
with the security issue, Maxwell. I don't know. I don't know. Is that the vice president in waiting? I don't know how the election going to go there. But Jeremiah Cohn, when Akarius went on the University of Liberia campus, I listened to his speech in Parliament, and I thought that message was scary to me when he said the country is not safe, the borders are all open. So what you are saying is contrary to what he said. So you don't agree with him that the country, because he said the country is not safe, no security to the bureau entry point across the country or around the country. So
first and foremost, we've had situation of mysterious death in Liberia. This is not alien, it's not an isolated case of Liberia alone. These are some of the deaths we regret. We think we should do better as a government to investigate these cases and prosecute actors, perpetrators who are involved. But if you were to look on the aggregate, look at the conduct of the government generally, you see that the atmosphere in Liberia compared to its neighbors is much, much more peaceful. It is much more peaceful. He talks about borders, for instance. We have a situation in Guinea. He's not in the security sector. He doesn't know the extent to which measures have been taken to minimize the risks or potential of, conflict spreading over from Guinea to Liberia. These are not things people will talk on the radio. To look at, for instance, the situation of possession of arms, robbery, across the country. If you were to do the crime statistics comparing Liberia with its neighbor, you realize that Liberia is much more a safe space to be in. I work in an area of peace and security. And interestingly, I provide consultancy for ECOWAS on the small arms program. I know what is happening in Mali. I can share that with you. In Ivory Coast, in Senegal, in the Gambia, in Ghana, for instance. The case is, if we were to do comparison of the crime statistic between other neighboring West African countries to Liberia, you realize that Liberia is much more safe.
No, however, it could be because the country they have more people than you. Your population is small. Yeah, and that's why they have more crime.
So we can make the analysis from another standpoint, but there are challenges. There are challenges. We acknowledge it, but on a general view, we realize that the condition of the country in terms of peace and security is better off. We can improve. There are challenges. No one should say all is well 100%.
Master, when you're not free to even carry your own cell phone when you're working in Liberia, you have to hold it tight and say the country is safe.
Which part of Liberia?
Go red light and be brandishing your iPhone.
Even in developed countries, there are other areas that are hotspot. For instance, you travel to the US now and you go to Chicago. There are parts of Chicago when you get there, the atmosphere is such that you will be advised how to operate in these areas where there are different.
In Philadelphia, I just moved down to Delaware. I mean, I can go southwest Philadelphia and carry my phone anywhere. Nobody comes to me to take my phone from me.
You can do the same in Cinco, for instance. Say you are creating an isolated case of Philadelphia.
No, but
you can do in Cinco, you can do in Congotown, you can do
those are the good areas you are naming in Liberia, though. Yeah, but let's get to the issue, please. All right, Maxwell, let's do an official self-introduction. I mean, the viewers, they want to know who is Maxwell Grigsby, so let's get to know who you are.
Thank you. I'm Tiklo Maxwell Grigsby, the son of Sinoe. By profession, I'm a lawyer. I've worked for the government of Liberia for the last 13 years in different capacities. Many years ago, I used to work at the Ministry of Finance. I have a first degree in a bachelor's degree in economics and a master's degree in public administration with emphasis on public budgeting. So I had the privilege to work at the Ministry of Finance as far back in 2010. We migrated to the Liberian Revenue Authority, where I worked for a little over 4 years. I exited LRA and became a consultant with the World Bank Plus project, resided at the Monrovia City Corporation, where I provided support to that project as the revenue and finance consultant. And then in 2019, I was called upon by His Excellency, the President of Liberia, to serve as the Joint Major of the Armed Policy Program of Liberia. I was appointed as chairman of the Liberian National Commission on Small Arms. 3 years after, we amended the act creating that commission, and in consonance with the United Nations Global Arms Trade Treaty and that of the ECOWAS Convention, we established the Liberian National Commission on Arms, where I have worked for a year now. While in government, I've kept the nexus with Sinoe County, where I come from. I run the Grigsby Cares Foundation, and with the support of our family members, we've been able to fund hugely education across Sinoe. Today, we have committed up to 116 scholarships. We have 77 students in different universities across Liberia. There are a little over 33 or 34 of them that are either making admission to school or have asked to wait for a semester, but my scholarship director had that details. But as we speak today, there are 77 young students in AME Zion, AME University, Stella Maris Polytechnic, Tubman University, Smart Institute, and many other universities here in Liberia. That is our flagship intervention for Sinoe. We believe that through education, we can launch a revolution in Sinoe that will bring pride to all of us. I'm a product, of education. everything I have, my dear friend, I attributed to God first and to education second. So that is where we've invested hugely. Also, in 2010, I had the honor to travel to the U.S. through an invitation from my friend Kimmy Weeks. I visited Northwestern University here in Illinois. I had the privilege to visit and participate in the Kent Global Summit. And while traveling together, my friend Kimmy would say, Grigsby, do you believe that when you cross the Atlantic, all the bad luck, in the African parlance, all the bad luck can leave you, So we laugh about it. But these kinds of travel, sometimes with the exposure that it comes with, it opens your mind to believe in yourself more. It increases your self-esteem and self-confidence. So that was the beginning of a long journey for me. And it's something I've tried to replicate in Liberia. So over the last 3 years, I've sponsored 52 young Sinoeans to travel to Freetown, where I've established a partnership with Ahmad Kalish to do a week-long training course in different disciplines, including ethics, transformative leadership, cybersecurity, and other courses where they are experts providing that support. On most of my ECOWAS trip, I've made it my duty to have some Sinoe young people travel along with me to have firsthand, observation of how the ECOWAS deliberation have been. I took one of them to Accra. I took another to Mali, and there's another that will be going back again to Lomé in a couple of weeks that I've used to help expose our young people.
Excellent.
We've been into community empowerment.
Let me come in. I know, it's an excellent intro over there. Politicians, they can go on and on. So, well, that's great, man. I'm quite proud of you. Your achievement, your profile academically, that's quite rich, But you say you're a lawyer. What sort of law are you in?
So in Liberia, I'm a product of the Louis Arthur Grant School of Law. I hold a bachelor degree in law, but in Liberia we do general law. I've not done specialization.
Okay.
I'm hoping that at some point in time I can do specialization in constitutional law, where I've emphasized my interests. I read a lot on constitutional law because I know some of the challenges we face in Liberia. Respect for the rule of law is at the core of peace and security and the governance of our country. So this is something that I've tried to even read before entering law school. So at some point in time, I will go specialize in con law. But yes, I hold a bachelor degree in general law.
Okay. So let's talk about your foundation a little bit. Say Grigsby Care Foundation, right? When was it established?
Yes, 2013.
Okay, and what was it established, or what basically do you guys concentrate on?
Education. We're focusing on education, entrepreneurship, health intervention. That is our 3 core area of concentration. And the 4th is community empowerment. And this is what we've done all through.
Okay.
On our community empowerment program, I constructed a youth center in Margibi, where I have one of my official residents. And then I have another in Sinoe in the Tatwa area, specifically Tottenville, that I will be delegating hopefully in July of this year. Our goal on our community empowerment program is to do 15 of these centers in the 15 county, but we don't have the resources. So we're taking it one day at a time.
How do you obtain funding for the foundation?
Basically, the funding has been on me as an individual and with support from family members. The Grigsby family is a big family. We have had the opportunity to serve in national government, and most of our family live in the U.S. They've contributed. And then wherever you work, relationship matters. We've helped so many young people who have become young professionals today. They continue to help support our work. And we are very grateful to God for that privilege. When I was constructing the center in Sinoe, we just had a WhatsApp chat room open of 200 people. And most of the things we needed for that center came from friends who are working in government and in private sector. And we are very internally grateful for that.
Okay, Grigsby, you have your foundation that you're running. We're going to get into it shortly, but you want our office. We want to know the worth of your foundation, because the politicians, they use their personal establishment as a facade. It's, oh, now my foundation getting me the money, now government money. So how much does the foundation worth?
So the foundation is non-for-profit. Uh, I, as at now, we don't have an endowment fund. The foundation is funded on fundraise either by my personal contribution or contribution of friends on a need basis. So, for instance, if we decide today that we want to do the community hemp pump rehabilitation program, our team will do a budget. We'll usually create, a specialized fundraising chat room for friends, family, in order to contribute. So it is not a foundation with huge, economic support at the moment, but we intend to create an endowment fund for education yet. So our support is mostly ad hoc on the need basis. When we decide to do a specific project, we raise funds targeted at that project. So we do not have a huge fund sitting somewhere to support such effort.
Okay, so basically we can say your foundation, the account balance zero.
You can say we have a few thousand, but it is not something.
How much is that? How much are we talking about? A few thousands.
So I will have to check the account, because the next thing will be, can I see your statement? I don't want to speak off here, but it's not something to say it's a lot of money. It will not be more than $2,000-3,000.
Is that Liberian dollars or like
United States dollars? These are funds we raise on a need basis for project. So like now we have that because the fund we are using to keep people in school, we have to reach out to family members, we have to reach out to prominent friends to put support. So our account, because in the last semester we spent a little around $12,000 on education, but these are support that came directly through us and friends. We should be around $2,000-3,000 at the moment, but I will have to.
Okay, so, Maxwell, on the question of education, though, your government is giving free education. Why are you guys still giving scholarships?
So the government is giving free education in the government-run universities.
Okay.
However, there are new innovative courses that are being introduced by private institutions that some of the kids want to take advantage of. The process of entering the university continues to be a challenge because it's free. Sometimes exams are administered. It's very difficult to enter the university. And some of the kids are so excited about wanting education. We cannot restrict them only to state-run institutions. I have two of our brilliant sons from Sinoe who wanted to attend the university to read civil engineering. But then at every time they took the entrance, some very brilliant young folks, unfortunately, they didn't make it. But they are very smart, people who top the schools in Sinoe. So I could not keep them waiting. We had them to go to Stella Maris. They are doing exceptionally well, at Stella Maris. And you wonder, how is it that as smart as these kids are, it is said that they did not make it in the entrance? Were the paper actually corrected? Why we didn't do a challenge? But the administering these kinds of public examination come with a lot of challenges, and sometimes we just cannot insist that the student must wait for the government examination before they are enrolled in different universities. So yeah, we do have some in government school, and we have others in private institutions.
All right, guys. My special guest is Maxwell Grigsby. Is my special guest on the platform. Maxwell, guys, if you want to participate, there's a number on the screen that you can call. You can also call me through WhatsApp. You can call me through Messenger if you have questions for our guest today. So, Maxwell, let's quickly, before I know the major thing is the code of conduct I want us to go into, but your current job description, you are the chairman for the Small Arms Commission of Liberia. So, what is that?
So I'm the chair of the Liberian National Commission on Arms. It used to be Small Arms Commission, but it's now Arms Commission.
Okay.
It is a policy commission responsible for establishing policy and regulation for the control of conventional arms as well as small arms in Liberia. So the commission has the prerogative to ensure that there are laws, regulation, standard operating procedures and the policy environment in place that those who possess arms in Liberia, state security individuals, people in armed forces of Liberia, people in different paramilitary institutions are guarded by SOPs. And when they transgress against the laws, they are made to be prosecuted. So the commission has two major international instruments that they monitor that the government of Liberia must abide by. The first one is the ECOWAS Convention on Small Arms, their ammunition, lead weapon, and other related materials. And the second is the United Nations Global Arms Trade Treaty. These are the two binding instruments. There are many other instruments that the commission will have to monitor to ensure that the government of Liberia continue to respect these international laws. They include, for instance, the United Nations Program of Action on Arms, International Tracing Instrument, and other international instruments. What these instruments do for the country is they ensure that no government in Liberia import arms for any sinister motive to undermine the peace process. So if the government of Liberia wants to import arms today into the country, the government must first get permission from the ECOWAS Secretariat. So if the government decided that they will import arms without, following that process, the commission will write the president office or the institution that want to import arms, letting them know that they cannot import arms except they receive the ECOWAS exemption certificate for importation. So it's a national institution with both national and international mandate to ensure that arms are regulated in the country. The commission has transitioned into playing the critical role that the United Nations mission in Liberia have played over the years, monitoring those with arms in the police. How do they conduct themselves? Those possessing arms in the Executive Protection Agency. Our function is to ensure that we inspect the armorers, ensure that those who are 247 carrier of arms abide by the standard operating procedure, and where they deviate, we recommend to these units to take action. That is why when one of the officers, for instance, in the most recent weeks, decided to wear party paraphernalia and accompany the president to a political rally, it became news. It became news because there's an SOP, that prohibit security officers from possessing firearms and participating in political activities. So that is our critical role for state security. For civilian, there's a general prohibition for possession of arms in Liberia, but civilian can possess firearms on a special need basis. So for instance, if you were a person of interest in a high-profile case, and you feel your life is threatened by virtue of the critical role you are playing on that case, and you need to be trained to possess firearms, you can make a special application through the commission. You can possess firearms. If you serve the government, for instance, as a prosecutor, and through your critical work, people were incarcerated, they pay for the scene, what are armed robbers, people involved with treason, and today they are no more in prison, they are walking in Monrovia free. If you feel because of the role you play in serving the government, you are in danger because of the steps you took, which were supported by the laws. But now that these people have become free men, they could come after you, you can make a special application. The commission will proceed under the advancement of the National Security Council to grant you lesson. Then there are people who are into hunting. Because it's a means of living for them, we can say they will not possess hunting gun. But we have an obligation to regulate and license those who will possess hunting gun to minimize, the risks of reckless handling of hunting guns and misuse of hunting gun to endanger lives and property. So these are the critical roles this institution has played over the years. It has been a small think tank that we are gradually expanding to become a national institution. It's 11 years old now, 12 years old now.
So on the civilian side, though, since you guys are the one that tracking the arms, how many citizens in the country that you know of right now that are bearing arms?
So the issue of arms, usually we treat it not as the normal public discourse, but we do have a system in place where every person in possession of firearm that have been lessened can be monitored. What we know from most of the assessment we've done across the country is that there are a lot of people who are illegally possessing firearms. The last two statistics we've done, it shows that more than 200,000 people are illegally possessing firearms. And we've rolled out a plan along with state security to ensure that there's voluntary disarmament and there's enforcement. But that rollout, because we're moving to election, we are being advised by the National Security Council to put a pause so that people do not think we are trying to, how do we say it in Liberia? They say they are being targeted. The election is coming. Government wants to go for everybody, so they become.
So about 200,000, that's a lot of illegal guns, though.
Obviously, but you know, like, so the last two major statistics we've done, it has shown that there's a little over 200,000 people in illegally possessing firearms. But the reason why it is not alarming as it should be is because since there's prohibition, people do not walk on the street with a gun. Okay. Because they will be arrested.
So, but the
so they keep this gun in their homes.
What does the Constitution says though when it comes to bearing arms? I mean, in the U.S., it will have Second Amendment right.
The Constitution of 1986 does not speak to armed possession. And I need to say that. The 1847 Constitution, under Section 12, was mirrored after the Second Amendment of the United States.
Okay.
But because of the crisis we had in Liberia, the drafter of the 1986 Constitution omitted Section 12 from the new Constitution because Section 12 of the 1847 Constitution made arm bearing a constitutional right issue.
Okay.
But the 1986 Constitution omitted that. So in Liberia, it is not a constitutional right to possess firearms.
So, but by virtue of what do you give hunters or guns then? What is protecting them legally?
So, under the hierarchy of law, we have the Constitution and we have the statute. So, there is a statute called the Firearms and Ammunition Control Act.
Okay.
It was first enacted in 2015 and amended in 2022. So, that statute grants the privilege to hunter to possess firearms, but with a caveat that they must be lessened. Yeah.
Okay, so but I mean, the law does it indicate what sort of firearm that you carry?
It does. So we have the single and double barrel gun for hunting.
Okay.
It's very detailed.
Good. All right. I mean, I can see you understand what you are doing over there. So wish you well. Continue what you are doing. But let's get into the major thing that we want to talk about today, which has to do with the code of conduct. First of all, do you believe in the code of conduct?
I didn't get you. You were breaking in.
I'm asking, do you believe in the code of conduct of Liberia?
Oh yes, I do believe in code of conduct for public officials. It is a constitutional requirement under Article 90C of the Constitution. I ascribe to the rule of law. I believe public officials should be guided by code. And I do support most part of the code of conduct and do not generally agree with all parts of the code of conduct because some of the provisions are inconsistent with international laws, protocols, and conventions. And they are only intended to best describe what we call bill of attainder. But notwithstanding, they are laws. You know, they are laws.
But Maxwell, why do we have to conform to international standards? Why we can't have Liberian standards?
Oh, we should have Liberian standard, but our standard must not be an isolated case that instead of promoting, democracy, which we say we ascribe to, instead of promoting justice, fair play, equal right, we should not segregate, because Liberia should be the teacher of what marginalization and segregation to a country. The damaging effect of marginalization and segregation should be taught by Liberians. We did not have war in Liberia because we didn't have good rules or we didn't have, schools. If you were to look at the report from the TRC, you realize that people felt excluded from the governance process. They felt marginalized. They felt targeted. We must learn the lesson from the past. We must never subscribe to make any law that will target a segment or sector of our population. That is why our Constitution in Article 21 front on the legislature. Any legislature that ascribes to doing what we call bill of attainder, making a law to target a person or group of persons. The Constitution says such law should be considered void ab initio. So it should be as though it did not exist.
Okay, first of all, for people that are listening, what is the code of conduct?
So the code of conduct is, generally, I want to speak from a Liberian context considering the act we have. So in context, when we say code of conduct in Liberia, we are referring to the act prescribed by the national legislature, setting rules, guidelines to regulate the activity of individuals within the public sector of Liberia. So generally, it's all public officials of the Republic across the three branches of government. What are the things they are expected to do and the things they should not do is clearly defined in this general guideline that is prescribed in that law called the Code of Conduct for Liberia. So it's a general guide that will control the conduct, behavior of those who that law defines as public officials. People working in the executive branch, legislative branch.
If that is true, if it is there to guide public officials, why haven't you resigned?
But resignation is a minute component. So first, looking at the history of the Code of Conduct, we see that the Code of Conduct has a reliance from the Constitution on Article 90C. So for the first time in 2014, we enacted a statute to prescribe, Code of Conduct for public officials. Under 5.2 of the statute, the legislature elected to restrict the provision to appointed officials in the executive and other officials of the executive, which to a greater extent defeated the very essence of Code of Conduct for public officials. We ascribe to the tenets of democracy, but in 2014, we elevated a law that tended to segregate, ostracize, and deny that free will to political participation. So that was challenged. The 2014 Code of Conduct was challenged because under 5.2, the provision was that those who are appointed by the president holding tenure, who want to contest, who intend to contest in pending election, whether legislative or presidential, they should resign 3 years prior to election. And other appointed officials who did not have tenure should resign 2 years to election. We had at least 4 cases before the Honorable Supreme Court prior to 2017 election. We had a case with Mr. Abu Kamara. We had a case with the Liberty Party through its Vice Standard Bearer Harrison Conway. We had a case with Selena Mappe Posen, and we had a case with Citizen Solidarity. And if you were to go through the essential component of these cases, the Supreme Court upheld the Code of Conduct as a law. But interestingly, in the Harrison Conway case, the Supreme Court interpreted what intent is. And in the Abu Kamara case, the Supreme Court introduced a standard where Mr. Kamara still sat in his position as assistant minister at the Ministry of Posts and Telecommunication. While he sat as assistant minister, he applied to contest in violation of the Code of Conduct. So the Supreme Court said the Code of Conduct is a law. Mr. Kamara is in egregious violation, but Mr. Kamara did not substantially. Then where the Supreme Court introduced the word called substantial compliance. So by substantial compliance, the court meant, even if you say you did not have intent 1 year, 2 years prior to election, At the time you decide to apply to NEC, you have manifested intent. So you must be in substantial compliance. That was the standard held in 2017. So all other persons that did not resign 2 to 3 years, the National Election Commission fined them. They pay fine and they contested. That is why, for instance, in the 2020 May 10 election, the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs resigned 1 month prior to the election, and he participated because the standard was any person who intends to contest must be in substantial compliance.
What does that mean again?
Substantial compliance, as interpreted, meant if you say you did not have intent 1 year, 2 years prior to the election, at the verge of going to apply to your party to participate in the primary, or if you are an independent candidate, at the point of submitting your application, you should resign before you do that. Because you cannot argue at the point of submitting that you did not have intent. If you don't have intent, how do you go participate in primary? How do you go to submit document to NEC to contest? So your submission, whether at your party primary or at NEC, will show a manifest intent to contest for public office. And that is why a lot of people did in 2017 and 2020. And that is why Mr. Grigsby, was similarly doing a case where he intended, to vie for any public office, because that was the standard. So it was not a violation to say why you didn't resign 2 years ago, why you didn't resign 3 years ago. No. When a statute is enacted by the legislature, the statute is interpreted by the court. And the interpretation of the court will be the law controlling on that statute. So nobody asked Honorable Besonga Finlay in 2020 why he didn't resign 2018. If you Google now, you will see that Besonga Finlay resigned.
Maxwell, let me follow you. Let me follow what you're saying. So, because people in the past, so the instances you are citing, are they correct or they are wrong?
They are very correct, because when the Supreme Court interprets a law, the Supreme Court interpretation becomes the law controlling. We call that George Weah law. So the statute says resign 2 years. But if a person say, I didn't have intent, because I will be an independent candidate, for instance, I support the president, but I intend to be an independent candidate. Before I apply to NEC, I must be petitioned by at least 300 people in Sinoe. I have not received any of such petition. If I don't receive that petition, I cannot apply to NEC. So there are substantial steps a person will take to manifest intent. So once you manifest intent by the steps you've taken, you will be under obligation to resign.
Yeah, but Maxwell, the law is clear though.
Towards applying, intent cannot be established. And a person who resigns before submitting to NEC will be in substantial compliance as per the interpretation of the code, and they will not be in violation. So that is for the 2014 and 2017 scenario. The 2023 scenario is different. There's a new variable.
And that's why I want to come out, because you are still using the past to build your case. I want to deal with what is at stake right now.
Great. So yeah, I had to talk about the past, because now when you bring it up,
yeah, the internet is glitching up right now. Let's see whether he can come back here. All right, so again, my special guest is Maxwell Grigsby. He is, that's what lawyers do, right? They try to spin the narrative, so it can be in their favor. But I want to see how far you're going to go with that. I mean,
I don't know why. You hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you now. Yeah,
so that went off. I don't know why. Maybe internet or so.
Yeah, it's the Bakuba internet you got.
Oh wow, my man. We improve internet here in Liberia. Okay. So in 2022, the legislature of Liberia wanted to cue that substantial compliance. They did not agree with the code interpretation. And under our law, the power of making law is vested in the legislative branch of government. So they did an amendment to the Code of Conduct specifically Section 5.2. And in that amendment, I think I sent it to you. If you were to look at 5.2a, 5.2a, they adjusted the time frame to resign from 2 years and 3 years.
Let me share that with the audience so we can follow together.
Yeah.
Let me see. All right, let's see.
Great.
All right, let's see what I can start from the top. I think it's included in the
This will be the executive order. This is not the
yeah, no, but
this is the executive order.
Yeah, the president cited that verbatim, and that's why I brought it up, because it's in there. The section you were talking about, he cited it. Let's see.
No,
Okay.
no, I want you go to the law. I want you go to the law. Okay, no, we can use the, but if you go to the law, we'll look at A, B, and C.
Okay. So, but this is 5.2 though. So let's look at 5. So, over here, the president said, "Whereas in the spirit of the above, an act to amend section 5.2 and 10.2 of the." Yeah, go ahead. You were saying something?
So there's the executive order, but we can talk about it though.
Yeah, yes, because you want me to put the law up, the amended law?
We can talk about it using this one. We can talk about it.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Great. So the new 5.2 as amended 2022, it says appointed official and others they define, and others is a proponent that was not in the 2014 law. It's an addition to the 2014 law.
Right.
Under this others, they say those who can contract and those in financial role, people who can get contract, people managing finances, they are included now, even though they are not appointed, but these others, they are included. So you should resign 1 year prior to election.
Right.
This provision, the bill was submitted, the engrossed bill was signed by both houses and sent to the president in September 2022. So when the legislature submitted this engrossed bill, they wanted the president to sign this before October 10, so that before October 10, 2022, they will have 1 year prior to the October 10, 2023 election. Then this law, this amendment could have been applicable to the 2023 election. But the president did not sign this law, the amended engrossed bill, until December 22, 2022. And it was published into Hemp Bill December 29, 2022.
Okay.
So what happened as a result of that action is that between December 29, 2022 to October 10, 2023, you will now have 12 months. You will now have 12 months. So when you go further down the executive order, you will see that it says the chief executive acknowledged that the amendment to the Code of Conduct cannot stop public officials from contesting the October 10, 2023 election. There's a reason for that. And a lot of people just think he's just saying it out of the blue sky. The reason why this executive order is saying that is because the Constitution of Liberia, under Article 21A, Article 21A says the legislature shall not make ex post facto law nor bill of attainder. What that means, the legislature will not make retroactive law. So if you make a law December 29 and say people should resign 12 months prior to election, from December 29 to October 10, you can't get 12 months. Because you cannot get 12 months, it means this law will be applicable to the next election, and not 2023 election. So all the people who talking code of conduct, this amendment to the code of conduct cannot affect the 2023 election. So the legal scholars who are advising the president said, Mr. President, we can cue it. We acknowledge that the code of conduct cannot stop these people. If you read the executive order, it's in it. They acknowledge that the code of conduct cannot stop public officials because it will be an ex post facto law to the effect that it is less than 12 months toward the 2023 election. So their legal theory is, since the code of conduct cannot stop people, let's issue executive order. Let's issue executive order. Because the president can use executive order to amend law using his executive power. I support the president. I will campaign for him. But that was a bad legal advice. Because in as much as the president has the right to issue executive order on our constitutional democracy has a function. Executive orders are issued to address temporary emergency that cannot go through the long hurdles of legislative bureaucracy. So, for instance, we have a situation in 2 or 3 of our countries where children are suffering from malnutrition. And the donors say to us, for us to bring food or ration to Liberia, you need to have an agency for food distribution. In that case of an emergency, if the president says he's sending a bill to the legislature to go and have it enacted, it will take time. The president cannot wait to go through that long hurdle of legislative enactment before establishing such agency. So under Article 50 of the Constitution, the president has the executive power to issue executive order to address such emergency. It has never been the intent of the framers of the Constitution of Liberia that executive order will be an amendment tool. That is why under Article 38 of the Constitution, it is clearly stated that where the president disagrees with a bill coming from the legislature, the president can either issue what we call a land veto, or he can veto the entire bill. So the best legal advice that should have been offered the president in December is that, Mr. President, if we sign this bill now, it will not be applicable to the October 10th election. We can veto, we can do a land veto to this bill to indicate that since we cannot have 12 months to the election in December and the legislature will be convening in January, let us do a land veto that those who intend to contest should resign 7 months. That means from either April to October. The legislature was still in session, they were not on break when the executive order was issued. So the legislature could have deliberated on adjusting the time frame. So I disagree that executive order was the appropriate legal tools to use. And I believe no court.
So Maxwell, let me come in here. Let me come in. I like the legal analysis you just gave, right?
Yeah.
But the executive order, when it was issued, the economic freedom fighters of Liberia, they challenged it. They took it to the Supreme Court, and the court upheld the decision of the president. So how is it that you are still not resigning?
Thank you. So first, let us speak in context. And I always tell our people, part of the problem is the media. Every media institution should be able, legal subject, to have a legal advisor. The Supreme Court has not decided on the petition from EFFL. When a petition for prohibition is filed before the court, the petitioners can do 2 things. The first thing is that the petitioner can venue their petition before the justice in chamber, or considering that the Supreme Court exercise original jurisdiction, the petitioners can request for a summary proceeding where the Supreme Court embank, that means the full bench of the Supreme Court, can decide the matter. The case with the EFFL is such that They venued the petition before the justice in chamber. And under our law, a petition for prohibition is a special proceeding. When that special proceeding is presented before the judge, requesting the justice in chamber, as in the case of EFFL, to issue an alternative writ, the justice in chamber can only issue an alternative writ where there is probable cause to believe that a wrong has been done. So, when the petition was issued on April 4th, the justice in chamber, Yami Beze, issued an alternative writ of prohibition on the executive order. That's the first point we have to recognize. When that alternative writ of prohibition was issued, the interpretation is that there is a stay, S-T-A-Y, section 16.23 of Title 1 of the Civil Procedure Law of Liberia says when an alternative writ of prohibition is issued, the judge places or stay, because it is not the preemptory writ of prohibition that will say stop. It is an alternative writ of prohibition to say, hold on, let me hear the matter. So anyone who did not resign as at April 7 did not violate the executive order, because the executive order was unenforceable by the issuance of the alternative writ of prohibition. That is the first point. The second point is, after issuing the alternative writ of prohibition, the justice in chamber cited the party for argument. And the justice in chamber decided in his decision, he denied the petition and he lifted the alternative writ of prohibition on May 1st. So prior to May 1st, any person who did not resign, you were not in violation. But something interesting happened on May 1st, my dear brother. The petitioner accepted to the ruling. They said, no, we agree with you. They announced an appeal. They have perfected the appeal by doing what we call the bill of exception. And they have requested assignment from the Supreme Court and bank the full bench. So under our law and practice in Liberia, when a lower court judge, as in the case of the justice in chamber, make a decision on a matter and that decision is appealed, you cannot enforce that decision. So currently, the executive order is not enforceable until the full bench of the Supreme Court decide the matter. So anyone who does not resign up to today is not in violation of the executive order.
All right, but Master, I like the lecture. I'm learning a lot from you. But the highest law of the land is this book, right?
Yes.
The Constitution.
Yes.
And if you look at Article 56A, yes, which I think you are conversing with, it says here, all cabinet ministers, deputy and assistant cabinet ministers, ambassadors, ministers and consuls, superintendents of counties, and other government officials,
yes,
both military and civilian, appointed by the president, pursuant to this constitution shall hold their offices at the will, at the pleasure of the president.
Agree.
My question is, Maxwell is serving at the will and pleasure of the president, but the president said Maxwell should resign, and Maxwell is challenging the order of the president. I mean, I don't understand that. You are serving at the will of the president. Yeah.
Your quotation of Article 56 is 100% correct.
Okay.
But the contextual, your analogy of Article 56 in relation to my appointment is wrong.
Please explain.
First, there are three categories of appointees under the government of Liberia. Category 1 of the appointees are covered under Article 56, and they work at the pleasure of the president. There's another category between Article 65 to 73 of the Constitution of Liberia. These are people who work in the judiciary, the Chief Justice and Associate Justices of the Supreme Court and judges of subordinate court. They are appointed by the president, but they don't work at the pleasure of the president. They can only be removed by impeachment. That is why, for instance, in the case of Justice Janet, when the government, the CDC-led government, took action to remove him through their representative, it was Madam Salif who appointed him. If he had otherwise worked, according to the pleasure of the president, they would not have needed to do impeachment. The president would have just asked him to resign.
No,
So
but
that
it's a different situation, though, Maxwell.
I'm coming.
Yeah.
I'm coming. No, I'm coming. Yes, I'm coming. Let me learn. So that category 2. Category 3 are appointees under Article 89 of the Constitution. Go to 89. Under Article 89, where I find myself, are people appointed to serve specialized commissions. In Article 89, under Article 89 of the Constitution, you have the Civil Service Commission, General Auditing Commission, National Election Commission. These are commissions established as creature of the legislature. And the legislature decide the governance of these institutions. Most of these institutions are regulatory institutions like what I have. And in the law of these regulatory institutions, they are appointed by the president, but can only be removed for a cause. So, chair of the National Election Commission was appointed by the president, but the current chair does not work at the pleasure of the president. She cannot be removed at the request of the president, except she transgress or commit a misconduct or commit felony. These are grounds for her removal. That is the same with Chairman Grigsby. I'm the chairman of the Liberian National Commission on Arms. My statute provides that I can only be removed for a cause. I do not work at the pleasure of the president, as in the case of Article 56. So I just wanted to bring to bear these 3 categories of appointees. Those who work under Article 56, the president did not need to issue an executive order. He just needed to get out one money and say, if you even dream of wearing t-shirt, resign, they will resign. That is why, for instance, when the president exercised the authority to remove the minister of post, he could not go to challenge his removal, even though he was removed for something that is against, international convention on civil and political rights, because the right to political participation, the right to assembly, these are rights protected on several protocols and conventions consistent with democratic norms. But he occupied a position under Article 56. He had no legal reliance to challenge that decision. Similarly, the chairman of LACC, the legislature enacted a new LACC and proceeded to start the recruitment of the new chair. He went to the Supreme Court, he filed a petition to prohibit the executive branch of government from removing him illegally. Why did he do that? Because the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission is established under Article 89 of the Constitution. He can only be removed for a cause established by statute. What did the Supreme Court say in the ruling? The Supreme Court acknowledged that presidential appointees are privileged positions, but positions that have tenure. The government of Liberia must respect the right. Article 25 of the Constitution says the government must respect the right to contract. So where a person has a contract of tenure, you cannot remove them for anything outside of the statute, except they commit a misconduct which the statute prohibits. If you made a decision to remove them, you will have to pay them for your unexpired tenure. So if the government had otherwise decided to relieve me because I didn't resign, the president can exercise that authority. But I too can seek remedy under the law, and the government of Liberia will proceed to pay me for my unexpired tenure. This is something no official under Article 56 can do. So I just wanted to make that notation.
So your position is a tenure position?
I serve a 5-year tenure.
Okay. So, but Maxwell, honestly, do you want to hold our office and getting paid from the public and at the same time running for office? Is that why you're making all the argument here?
Absolutely no. At the time I spoke a month ago, I said there were no compelling reason at that time to resign, and that was true. What could be compelling reason, for instance? Section 5.8 of the Code of Conduct says, no appointed official or government shall take active part in politics. Forget about 5.2. So for me to be a candidate, I must take active part. I must go to receive a petition. And going to receive a petition and agreeing to accept that petition will automatically make me a politician. So on June 25th, I will be going to receive a petition. And if I don't resign and go to receive that petition, I'll be in violation of the Code of Conduct. I can be dismissed for that because that's gross misconduct. It's violation of the law. What have I done? I have written the president's office to notify him that on June 25th, I will be going to Sinoe to receive a petition. I intend to accept the petition to contest in my district. So I tender him my resignation effective June 23rd because I don't want to be in violation. But if that condition did not exist, there will be no reason to resign. There must be a compelling condition which will clearly manifest my intent to actively engage into politics. And receiving a petition in Sinoe and saying, yes, I will contest in Sinoe, by the signature provided to me, clearly show my intent. And I obviously cannot hold a position anymore once I'm accepting that petition. So that's the point I was trying to make.
Okay.
That in the absence of these substantial steps, there were no compelling reason to resign.
So, but as of now, your action is not an affront to the president? You don't see that as an affront?
You see, and that's the mistake people make. The country we should run the country on the rule of law. The only people who should be very concerned about the pleasure of the president are appointees under Article 56. Because the law says they must make the president happy. If the president wanted me to be in a position to make him happy, he should not send me to a tenure position where I can exercise independence. The statute that governs my job grant me that independence. So it is not about the president's pleasure. It is about the rule of law. What does the law say? Have I violated any law? I challenge anyone to show the law I violated. It cannot be the Code of Conduct, which is not applicable. It cannot be the executive order, which is under judicial review. The only time I could be in violation of the other provision of the Code of Conduct that was not amended, which is 5.8, if I go to receive petition, agree to contest, apply to NEN, still hold my job, they will disqualify me. And that's why I'm not going to do that. But it is not an affront to the president to insist that Liberian, our government, the CDC government that I support, should be conducted respecting the rule of law. For instance, the penal law says if you take something from someone without their permission, with the intention to deprive them of their asset, you commit theft. When you commit theft, even though that law was passed by the legislature, signed by President in 2011, President Sali, is that an affront to President Sali because she signed the penal law, and the penal law says any person who take something from another without their consent, with the desire to deprive them of their asset, they commit theft. When you commit theft, is theft an affront to the president? It cannot be. The only thing you can hold me liable for is violating law. If I violate law, go to the very Code of Conduct, section 12.2. There must be an office to prosecute every person who violates this Code of Conduct, and that office is the office of the ombudsman. So if you think it's an affront, the president has the executive power of the republic to appoint. We have to encourage the president to appoint the ombudsman who will act on behalf of the president to investigate people like us and prosecute us. Why can't we run this country on the strength of the rule of law? So those who say, oh, you disrespect the president, it's an affront to the president. These are the people who want superior presidency. And tomorrow they will hold our president as being a dictator. We don't agree. We are sedition. We support the president re-election, but we want the president to run the government on the strength of the rule of law. The president has shown his desire to allow public officials be held at the highest standard. He has made a political decision. Where the decision deviates from the rule of law, you can decide that, okay, on political ground, I will abide by the decision, or I don't think the decision syncs with the rule of law. I don't agree with the decision. And because we are in a democratic party and in a democratic government, people should get used to other people holding different opinion from that of the leader of the party.
So Maxwell, have you applied to contest in Sinoe County? District
No,
number
I have
1?
not.
You have not
I have
applied
not.
yet?
No.
Okay.
No.
So, and you say June the 25th, you'll be going to receive your petition.
And I will be a former chairman before that time. I've already tendered in my resignation, effective June 23rd.
So you have not engaged in any political activities in Sinoe County? So
political activities is defined, and people can have the different definition of political activity, but NEC has a calendar for political activities leading to 2023. The last time I checked NEC calendar, political activity has not started. Because for you to engage in political activity, you must first be a candidate. Candidate registration will be between June 14 to July 14. So engage in political activity as what? As official of the government campaigning for President Weah? As official of the government campaigning for yourself? How can you campaign for yourself when campaign has not been declared? Even those of us who are encouraging people to do voter registration, NEC has considered that pre-campaigning, and they have sent an instruction that all billboards should be removed. So officially, there's no campaign activities happening. There's no political activity leading to 2023 happening. Unofficially, yes, people could go and have, community discussion, but this discussion does not amount into you being a participant. In Sinoe, for instance, a friend of mine, Darius Jipla, has been very engaged for the last 2 years across Sinoe. But just yesterday, we saw a release coming from him that he's not going to participate. So the initial community discussion, consultation does not qualify you as a candidate until you apply. What if I decide that I'm not going to participate tomorrow? So that the point is, before we get active for political activities, some of us who believe in the rule of law will not hold government position. That is why, I on June 1st, when I got the letter last month from my team that they wanted to do the petition on June 25th, I told them I cannot accept, and I refused to accept any petition signed prior to this time because I knew that it would have been in violation of the law.
Maxwell, let me come in here a second. So, I've been hearing the phrase rule of law for a second. You repeated that multiple times. So, say, for example, you were in the U.S.
Yeah.
But then Black people were not full human beings.
Yeah.
Even in the Constitution, they still have 3/5 clause in there.
Yeah.
You would obey that rule of law that says that certain people that are full human beings, because you say you're somebody who respects the rule of law. So if the rule of law says certain people are subordinate to certain people, you will obey that. Would you?
First, yes, I will obey. Listen, I have to make this point. I will obey any law that has been interpreted as law of the country. However, as lawyers, we have the right to give our dissenting opinion about the law, even though it's a law, like I have done with the code of conduct. I have said the provision that says people should not contest until they resign is targeting is built of a tender, but that's law. Let me tell you, for instance, there's a simple analysis that I usually share in most of my training courses across West Africa about laws in West Africa. During the days where there was segregation during the apartheid in South Africa, for instance, the law, it was prohibited for a Black person to interact with a white person. At the time, the law was, if you're Black, go to the Black school. You go to white school. That was the law. Today,
Master, hold on a second. Master, 1 second, please. 1 second. Mondu, hold on a second. Hold on. Let me complete his thought, and I'll bring you in. Master, go ahead.
Thank you.
No, just hold on.
If you were to do the same thing today that we had years back, where the law was Blacks should not mix with white. Send your Black child to Black school. Send your white child to white school. If we were to do the same thing today, if we were to segregate Black students from white students, it would be, violation of the law today. So That thing which was the law then was a bylaw, but that bylaw was the law. But today, if we are to do the same thing, which was a violation yesterday, mixing white and black, today is the law. The law today is we should not segregate any group of people on the basis of the pigmentation of their skin. You see, so laws will be evolving. Sometimes there will be bylaws. But over time, people will argue, will disagree with the bylaws. They will advocate until the bylaw become a good law. My thing as a lawyer, once it is interpreted as the law, I will obey it, but I will say my disagreement with the law, like I'm doing the code of conduct. In the legislature,
Maxwell, what I'm hearing from you, I think people like Henry David Thoreau, or say St. Thomas, yeah, I think it's Thomas Aquino or one of those guys, who says that an unjust law is no law at all. And so, based on what you are saying, I think once it is a law, you're going to obey it. But those guys, David Thoreau was saying, you know, if the law is unjust, you should violate that law. You just be willing to take the penalty for it. So I don't think
I don't subscribe to that school of thought. I'm a lawyer. He was speaking as an advocate.
Okay.
As a lawyer.
So you don't believe in civil disobedience?
Yeah.
You don't believe in civil disobedience?
I'm a lawyer. I'm a lawyer who believes.
No, I want to be. You don't believe in civil disobedience?
I do not fully support civil disobedience to the extent that it becomes chaotic. We've had many of these situations in the past. I would rather use my intellectual capacity to disagree with the law, to push for the change of the law, to show the contradictions of the law, and how the law.
Let me bring a caller in here. Somebody is calling. Mondo, call. Just introduce yourself and tell where you calling from.
Yeah, this is Mondo from Houston, Texas.
You hearing him?
Yeah, I'm hearing him. I'm hearing Mondo.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Maya Mondible. I'm calling from Houston, Texas, and I have a question for your guest. He's very good. He's a very good guest. I mean, I never listened to somebody, you know, giving all the different codes and this and that. He did all that. The credit to him. But one thing he said that I kind of have a problem with, that NEC has not given their scheduling for campaigning. But I was in Monrovia in February.
Monroe, hold on a second. I think he's off a little bit here. Let's see what we can establish contact.
No, I'm not off. I'm on. I just cut the camera off to listen.
Okay, all right. Go ahead.
Yes, I was in Monrovia in February, and most of the majority of the street I saw Weah 2023, 2024. And that signifies that he running campaign. And he said that no one should do that until June 14th to the 21st. Why is it we are campaigning? It's not a violation of NEC.
Okay, all right. All right, let's see whether you can react to your question. Go ahead, Maxwell.
Yeah. But this is not a question I should answer. We all know that it's a violation of the election laws, and the election commission behave as though they don't see it. You know, it's unfortunate. It should not be happening. It should not be happening. That is why the election commission 2 weeks ago came out with an announcement that every person with campaign-related message should remove them. And now in Monrovia and most of the places, even the president has removed some of these bowls. But that is violation of the law. We are very weak on enforcing law in Liberia, you know, but I will not tell you it's not. It is a violation because campaign period has not, been announced yet. No party or candidate should be involved with pre-campaigning. If I were at the commission or regulatory institution, I would fund the ruling government.
All right, so, Mondo, you got another question for him? Mondo?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So, Maxwell, I still want to understand though. You contested in Margibi before.
Yes, sir.
Why are you leaving Margibi and you're going to Sinoe County now?
So all those who contest in political election are guided by laws. When you read Article 30 of the Constitution, it says the requirement. I'm a son of Sinoe. Jeremiah Kuhn's father is from Jirepo. 2 times he became lawmaker in Nimba. So Sinoe has a 4th district in Nimba. Today he's a vice presidential running mate, but he still showing leaning to Sinoe and will be going to canvass with the Jirepo people to get votes.
That's a political move. Go ahead. In
Ambassador
politics.
Weah.
That man has never identified with Sinoe, but go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm coming. Ambassador Weah, who is the president today, who the Grand Crew people are so attached to, even though originally his birth certificate says Sinoe, because that Sastan territory was under Sinoe. Never contested in Grand Crew before. He contested in Monserrato. His political popularity was very huge in Monserrato, became senator of Monserrato, but today he's known as the president from Grand Crew. I'm from Sinoe. In 2017, the areas in Greenville that I could have gotten as a candidate, I already produced candidate. I supported Honorable Mervyn Sarr, for instance, to become Speaker of the Mano River Union Youth Parliament. And Honorable Sarr declared that he wanted to be representative. Honorable Donkey and I shared Lexington and other places in Sinoe, and he was the leading candidate. I have supported a lot of young people from Tatwe, and we had Jefferson Camo, who was the 3rd deputy speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament, and he was poised to become Speaker of the Parliament of Liberia as promised by the now president. And once he was elected, he could have become Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament. So, my brother, there was no space for me in Sinoe County District number 1. But like I said to you, I have always done good in everywhere I find myself. And the election law does not require that you should contest to where your parents come from. Article 30 says for you to contest in any part of Liberia, you must have domiciled there at least 1 year, 12 calendar months prior to election. So, my brother, you can come to Liberia, you can move to Bon County in Banga, you can open your lab or factory there, empower the people in Bon County. If they think that you can represent their aspiration, they can elect you. That was the case in Magibi. But unfortunately, the people of Magibi say, what is Sinoe meeting? He leave a country, he won't be represented. So that was a conspiracy against me. Unfortunately, I did not win the election. I never thought that 2023 I would consider being on the ballot in Sinoe. I was called by many different groups in the county. I did exploration for the last 3 years. If Honorable Duncan had made a decision to go for re-election, I would not have opted for this seat, because as a representative of District number 1, you can see some of the intervention he has made compared to the predecessor. Even though he's not 100%, but he made some effort, which we must acknowledge.
What is that? What intervention he has made?
So, for instance, in District number 1, this thing about having youth-friendly space across the district was alien to that district prior to his coming to become representative. So it's something that he brought, to the district. Support to schools. For the first time in Sinoe County, you have one person providing support to students who are taking wax. So for almost 3 years, he took on the responsibility to do that. That was a positive intervention. He has well supported, for instance, providing buses. It may not be in the very best condition, but at least he started an effort of providing buses to students. These are some of the efforts I acknowledge.
But why is he giving buses to our children that are not in best condition?
Obviously, it is not in the very best condition. I do agree, but he made some effort, and it's something we can improve upon.
I see that as the endangerment of the lives of the children. That's how I see it. It's not in best condition.
So we as people can caution him to do better. We can critique him for the part that is not very good, but at the same time acknowledge the one he has done. And the fact that we share the same party, if he were opting to go for a re-election, I would not have, taken up the stage to say I want to be. You see that there's vacuum in District number 1. Comparatively, most of the people who won this seat, my brother, it is only because they want to get a decent job to get well paid.
You sure you can bring Romeo Weah in that district?
So Romeo Weah is far younger, our big brother. For many years, he has struggled with, our people in the country. We cannot take that away from him. But if you were to see the component of the district over time that have voted for him, you realize that he would do better in a district where there are more SAPO votes. And if you were to look at the stats of his votes from 2005 to 2020, like for instance, in 2017, Greenville had 8,000 votes. Weah got less than 800. When you look at the statistics, Greenville, 8,000, he got less than 800. Numapo had almost 1,900. He got 1,100.
So, but Maxwell, you have not tested your strength, though. So why are you optimistic? Huh?
Because I've seen what Duncan did in 2017, that he got 7,000 votes. If you were to open your mouth,
but you are not Duncan. You are not Duncan.
But I'm doing some things that Duncan did not dream of doing. For instance, Duncan will not tell you that he has up to 30 to 40 students going to university. I didn't have to give money like he did in 2017, but I'm spending my money differently. He cannot tell you that he has 30, 40 people he's been able to give foreign exposure. So there are some places where he's lacking. I've complimented him. And my engagement with the district is very superb. I know Honorable Weah is going to make a compelling case. I know he's going to be a tough candidate to win, but obviously now, this thing is generational politics. And a big brother, his age mate.
Generational politics. We got a guy from the US here. What you call him? Tia Jadia is also in there coming.
Obviously.
We got a young man there, Trouble Winston Doe, I think he's also challenging you. But Maxwell, let me ask a question. I think there's a guest on the line, but is it because you have no hope in my Giving County, that's why you are going back home?
Obviously not. As a matter of fact, you know, my coming to Sinoe to vie for an office is not my decision. It has never been my decision. As a matter of fact, I did not think I would be.
Master, that what politicians say? They say, "Oh,
no. I'm being very frank about this. In 2020, when I went back to Sinoe to support the team, you know, in 3 days to the games, Honorable Lead Language reached out to me. They were in a very tough situation. I rescued that situation, provided support to the team. Almost all of the young people came out and said, Mr. Grigsby, we think you are the only person who can replace Duncan and make these young people happy. Consider it. And I dismissed it. I was 2019 and 2020. 2020, my father came to me. He said, Mama, you got to come back home. Do this thing. I told him I'm not prepared for it. Some of the prominent leaders in the country reached out to me. I told them I was not prepared for it. But you cannot continue to say no, when the glaring reality is that there's just no competition. It's your time.
Have you domiciled in Sinoe for 1 year as the law requires?
Oh, come on. I've been very active for more than a year.
You should be domiciled in the county. Have you been living there?
Great. So domicile does not necessarily mean you must still there. You must stay in the county 365 days. What it means, you should have a place to stay. You must conduct activity, and at least within that 365 days, you should be able to do up to 100, 180 days. No one of the candidates
stay in Sinoe.
Oh, I travel to Sinoe frequently. I'm in Sinoe frequently.
No, you have a shelter because Margivi, you say you have a shelter in Margivi. Do you have a shelter in Sinoe?
Yes, that I do. And but let me say to you, the only reason now.
Let me bring the caller in here, and you can say more.
Okay, thank you.
Monibu.
Oh God, 1 minute.
You couldn't hear me?
No, not at all.
Yeah, because there was feedback from you. There was a feedback from your end, so I had to put you on mute.
Oh, okay, I see why.
Yeah, but I think he's off. He's gonna be back shortly.
Oh, so he gone?
Yeah, I think he just went off.
Oh, he went off. So should I stay on the line?
No, I'll call you when he gets back. He comes back.
Okay.
All right, so guys, that's Maxwell Grigsby, my special guest. Maxwell, I think he's back now. Let's see. Hey, Maxwell, welcome back.
I'm so sorry, man.
Yeah.
The internet thing here, we got to pass on a lot to help it.
I know, right? Let me call this. Somebody wanted to ask you a question. Let me call him back. Yeah. Okay, yeah, you're on. Maxwell, he's listening.
Okay, you listening now? I can ask my question now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Grigsby, earlier I said my name is Mandibu. I'm from Grigsby Farm. I'm sorry that my first time hearing Maxwell Grigsby, I don't know whether you're familiar with anybody from Grigsby Farm. However, you said you ran in Maggie. What year again, esoteric?
I don't know the year, but I think it was prior election.
Yeah. And you are from Sinoe, you know, we said the Constitution says alone you are citizen of the Republic of Liberia, you can vie for any position in any place where probably you live for a year or probably not. But so what happened that time when you ran for my year, you couldn't go to Sinoe to run, and now that you're going back to Sinoe to run.
But I'm not cutting you, but he said he had a candidate at the time in that district, you know, so he couldn't run there.
He's not a candidate at that time in the district in Sinoe?
No, at the time he had a candidate there. He had somebody that he was putting up in there. He was supporting somebody in that district. But
okay,
yeah.
So now.
Hold on, please. Hold on. Let me see. Okay, Lloyd, hold on. Model, go ahead, please.
Yeah. Now, what gave you the confidence now, after all these years, that you think you can win?
Okay. All right, Maxwell, you can react to his question, please.
So let me thank Mr. Mondubu. And you see, there's one thing I've learned from politics. Prior, I contested in my Gibi 2017, that's 5-6 years ago. I was never petitioned by any group of people from Sinoe. I don't think leadership is something you just call yourself to say, I want to do this. I had done a lot for Sinoe young people prior to 2017, but I was helping Sinoeans coming to Monrovia. I was not taking my support back home. So our people back home could not attribute most of the good things I was doing to me. So nobody reached out to me to contest in Sinoe. Then, like I said to you, Derek, I invested in someone who had declared for the district. So I could not have contested against them. Today, the person I invested in is supporting my campaign, and one of my campaign chairperson, Honorable Duncan, who could get a lot of votes from Lexington and other places, is contesting to be senator. Honorable Camo, who could have become the Speaker of ECOWAS Parliament, who I did not feel the need to contest against, is no more in the election. Then the decision to participate in this election was not born out of my ambition. It was born out of the desire of people who think that in the president cabinet, I'm one of the youngest, they see that I'm making progress, they think I can bring my leadership to add value to the legislative caucus of our county.
Maxwell, why you want to leave a tenure position and go to be a lawmaker? You got 5 years. Why you can stay where you are?
Okay, so, let me tell you, working in the executive is good. There are a lot of benefits we have. But I don't believe Sinoe got her fair share of the national cake in the first 6 years. I don't believe so.
Even though you supported Duncan and he did not deliver, that's what you're saying?
I don't believe Sinoe got her fair share. I said Sinoe. I didn't say,
but you want the guys. So what would be fair share? What would be fair share?
When I look at the national budget and see how our funds are appropriated to county, in all of the sectors, Sinoe is amongst the least. I think we still need to have conversation about that. What portion of the national cake comes to Sinoe? I'm a very jealous guy. I'm happy for the people of Lofa, Foya, and other places where the CDC government are doing paved road. So you see, our government, you go to Foya since Foya was funded as a county. Lofa was funded as a county. This is the first time we're doing concrete pavement in Foya. But if you were to go to Sinoe, the only street we committed monitoring in 2018, Mississippi Street, only the sidewalk we have some of these bricks. Not a single street has been completed in the 6 years. So the government may be making progress generally, but our people will hold some of us in the government responsible for not advocating for them to get the fair share.
All right, I got some calls coming in here. Let me see what I can bring some people, please. Let me
available.
See. Yeah. Hello? Lloyd. Lloyd.
Yeah. How are you, Doc?
Yeah, I'm good. Lloyd, is that o'clock?
No, it is Thomas Romeo Weah using the class form.
Okay, yeah. What's your take, sir?
Are you live now?
Yes, I am.
And I want to appreciate my son in studio there. And I want to applaud you for this show as well. And I just want you to revisit the statistics that tells him that I got 834 votes in Liberian District. I ran back to back 27.
Yeah, I think. Hello. Yeah, the connection is bad. Let me bring the next person. Hey, Lloyd. Lloyd. Hello, Lloyd. Welcome to Voice of Sinoe.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, I'm Stephen Lord Togwa, party leader of the Indomitable Mighty Congress of Democratic Team.
Oh, the man, CDC. Okay, go ahead. I don't mess with you.
Yeah, I want to appreciate the honorable Grigsby in the studio today. I met the first time I met Grigsby was 2017, and Grigsby always he have not ceased to amaze me. The level of intelligence, the level of leadership, the level of straightforwardness he brings to the job. I work with, I can say, because I work with Honorable Grigsby when President Weah was elected. Honorable Grigsby, Jefferson Koji, and myself were given the task. I had to give the task to clean the city from Ducal to RIA.
Okay.
And I saw what Honorable Grigsby could do. This is a guy who, when he's dedicated to what he does. He was going out there trying, making sure, lobbying for resources and stuff like that. I think if Honorable Grigsby wins the representative seat in District Number 1, that would be a huge plus for Sinoe County. Not just constituent District 1, but the entire Sinoe County, because Grigsby know how to get around. You know what to do to lobby, to bring stuff. And that's what lawmakers should do. Go and fight for your people. NEMA today is developed because Prince George doesn't know how to sell NEMA and market NEMA. We need something like that in Sinoe. We need people like that in Sinoe who will go out and bring in the goods.
Yeah, but Lloyd, I'm not cutting you, but the man supported Creighton Duncan and he said Creighton Duncan failed.
Yeah, but people, wise men change. Don't you know that?
The fools also can change.
Yeah, I remember the last time you supported Kennedy, that failed.
All right, you have question for Maxwell, please, so I can bring that, so you can react to it. Okay.
It's affirmation to his character as a man and as a statement. He's a married man, very, very loyal to his wife.
Okay.
He's a man who has his family.
Okay.
Who takes care of his family. He's a man who people look up to. And young men like Leo and other people look up to him. This is the man who.
Lawyer, it seems that you're supporting the man because the man is a sedition.
You seem like you're supporting because of sedition. Whether Maxwell Grigsby is a sedition or independent candidate, I will speak what the truth is. Okay. And Maxwell Grigsby is somebody who that I can trust with Sinoe County District Number 1. And let's see what you'll do with it. Maybe the next senatorial election, he will join the Honorable Marvin Zaza in the Senate. We don't know. But
all right, let me let Maxwell react. But before I let you go, why are you not contesting this time around? You contested before.
Yeah, you have to understand the political climate. Election is not about individuals. It's about the people. I contested in 2017. It's true. In Sinoe County District Number 8.
And you get 12 votes.
Yeah, no, I didn't get 12 votes. I this one was in update I keep 6 or 7.
Okay.
21. After 22 years being exiled, then you know that's a huge plus.
Okay.
However, whenever you fight for a thing and that thing is being threatened, you put aside the differences and come to defend it. So therefore, it's not about Rotoba. No, it's about the interest of the Liberian people that we know President we are 12 years. We bring more tangibles to the country. So we have to put aside our personal interest and to come and defend.
Yeah, even though the guest, Mr. Grigsby says Sinoe County, the roads, no road, nothing, they can't build, even your pavement, they can't get it completed. But your President George Weah, oh man, let me let the guest come in, please. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
If I walk to your studio and hit you with a baseball bat, the police will not arrest you because I hit you with a baseball bat. If you either was go to the court to say, oh, the man hit me with a baseball bat, or they have a hard case against me. You understand me?
Okay.
If the lawmakers do not go to and put their flag in front of the executive, whatever the cases, or whatever the cases of get to lobby to bring goods to the county, they cannot report.
Yeah, Senator Milton tell you, I mean, John wrote a GSU to audit numbers, lead number GA. Nobody said a man's corner or 1 million plus. Now, why Milton Teja wrote a letter to the Senate Pro 10 so they can activate GSC.
Our agenda is not to audit lead number 10. Who is the senator?
No, but he's a sedition, and the senator is saying he's squandering our money, and you present CDC. All right, let me bring my guest in, please. Let me bring my guest. Lord, let me bring my guest, please. All right, go ahead. Okay.
With all due respect to the old man came and made big allegations from my Putigimpa, buying public sympathy to be able to win my Putigimpa, which he did. After he won my Putigimpa, the next thing, the honorable senator or the dishonorable senator was flagged in gold. I mean, he had gold teeth bigger than there's some 2 months on people's hands. He got gold rings, he got gold everything. You know, renting houses for girlfriend, all that stuff like that. But that's a different story.
All right, let Brother Gas in, Lord. Thanks for your participation, buddy. Thank you so much. All right. Yeah. Maxwell, any reaction to what you just heard?
You know, Law is a friend. We work together. I respect him a lot. He can vouch for my work across the government. You know, I have worked 13 years in several areas in government. I've tried to resist the temptation of separating that which is for me and that which is for the public. He knows that, you know, I'm a family person. I didn't say that. I've been married to my wife. We've been together for 11 years, and we stayed 9 years in marriage. We have 5 children. So I bring to this job, you know, credibility.
All right, let me see another caller coming here. Mr. Evangelist.
Yes.
Yeah, welcome to the show. Introduce yourself and tell the people where you're calling from.
My name is Evangelist James Scholar, and I'm calling from Spokane, Washington.
Okay, go ahead. What's the question or your concern?
Yeah, like the young man that is in the studio with you, the aspirant, even though he has not declared his intention to run. You see, if you want to be a lawmaker, you have to argue the strength of the law, especially when there are other laws that, that are accurable, and people want to argue that. And I think the young man, I don't want to make a conclusion, but I mean, he is a man who is open with the law. This is why I want to congratulate him for his level of acumen so far on the code of conduct. Okay. Because one thing I got from him, if the lawmakers, the legislative body, pass the law, and the president delay the time to sign the law, then the time in between, because it's going to be there 1 year.
Right.
And there are some lapses in the signing of the law or in the passage of the law. So that particular thing can be accurate. You know what I'm saying? It can be challenged, even though people will say, oh, it's a sedition and all of those things. But these are some of the people that we need in the House of the Parliament to argue some of those things. So I mean,
so in other words, are you supporting him? Are you in support of him running for office?
I don't know a platform. He has not declared, according to him, he had no intention until that time. Mm-hmm. So I can't consider him to be a candidate. These are some of the clarifications. People are running here and there, running campaign, whereby nobody, they are not put forward their platform. I don't know a platform. You are not declared, according to the argument, you are not declared intention. So
Evangelist, can you make your statement into a question?
I don't have a question, actually,
Okay.
I mean, I just admire his level of intellectualism.
And man, get plenty of rhetoric, the beginning and talk plenty, they get a whole word to that. All right, boy. He's a smart guy, yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think you'll be a good representative. That's it,
Okay.
Among other candidates, that's it. If we can give you a trial,
mm-hmm.
I think you'll do something better.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Let me bring the man on. All right. Maxwell, you want somebody over, even though you say he doesn't know your agenda yet. What is your agenda for the people? Let's go to let's transition now.
So we've spoken about education. It's something we are doing now, and it's something we want to continue to do.
I think you're kind of a little low.
Say that again.
I said the audio is kind of a little low.
Are you hearing me?
Yeah.
So our concentration is on education. Now it's being supported by the Grigsby Care Foundation, but it's going to be the District #1 Educational Endowment Fund. Our office, I didn't say this to you, but I got my first degree because Sinoe County paid my fees for 3 years on the Sinoe County scholarship. If I did not have that, I would not have earned my first degree. So this is at the top of my agenda for Sinoe. Now we have a little around 115 commitments. We have 77 of the students in school as representative. Over the next 6 years, we want to grow that to 300. And we want to have a group of professionals manage the District Educational Endowment Fund. So it's not going to be great, but we will have prominent people from our county and the district sitting over the endowment fund, including companies that are investing in the county, so that when my pocket runs dry, the endowment fund will keep our students in school. The goal is to ensure that anywhere between 200 to 300 people in 6 years' time attain master's degree. It's ambitious. I don't depend on my pocket. I'm going to use every innovation I have in me to make this work. This is at the top of our agenda. Our second focus is on entrepreneurship. And the things I'm telling you about are things that we are doing already. On entrepreneurship, we started with this motorcyclist. In Sinoe, there's a young man called Perfect Manager, Ramsey Quay. He's a Drepo young man. This young man started with one motorbike. He bought another motorbike. And from riding motorbike today, he's one of the most successful young men into mobile money transfer and money exchange program. He is my brand ambassador for youth entrepreneurship. We want to use our motorcycle program to empower those young people who want to ride motorbike after school as a means of generating income in Sinoe because there's not huge traffic, but at the same time to go into other areas of business. For me, that is key. Everyone wants to do micro loan. I'm providing, financial consultancy to a group that is giving loan to government employees. They started at a small scale. Today, they are one of the biggest micro loan institutions in Liberia. In the last 2 months, you said reach out to them. You said want to put money in their intervention so that money can reach to those people who don't have access to finance. I want to be able to sit with our business people in Sinoe. We have some very prominent business people, Detour, William Johnson, Jim Thomas, and others. They've become successful on their own. I want to sit with them and see how we have a specialized fund for our microcredit program in the county. For me, access to finance is going to be a key component to expanding businesses in Sinoe. Obviously, I see no reason why with the expansion of Golden Verulian program, we will still have a community college after all these years. The community college, I didn't tell you, but let me say this, had the first graduation because some of us had to intervene. I think a year ago, I provided $300,000 to the administration to help plan for graduation. For almost 5 to 6 years, since they operated the community college, they have not put out graduates. That's not fair to our young people in the county. We want to sit with the institution, those in leadership, to see how within 3 years, between 2024 to 2026, we can expand the program and possibly, based upon progress at the community college, introduce the act to ensure we have Sinoe County University. That is going to relieve us from the huge burden of transferring our students to Monrovia to go to different schools. On the oversight, in the last budget, the 2023 budget, Sinoe County alone had almost 6 different lots offered for road rehabilitation and new construction in places. Out of the 6 lots, not a single lot was given out because most of the companies did not apply. For instance, the Port of Greenville, there was a lot offer for the pavement of the Port of Greenville. No company, applied for that. There was another lot offer for renovation work on Seabed Bridge. When you get to the county now, you will see there's a whole, the bridge is being undermined hugely. And if the government, does not intervene in the next few months, we could have trouble with that only bridge that is connecting Seabed and other areas in Panya. We need to make sure as legislator, not only that public works will, issue out lot and publish them for interested bidder, but we need to work with public works using our oversight that there can be incentive for people to do rural road, the 48-mile road, the road from Greenville to Weah Town. That road is being paid for by government taxes. And when you see the quality of work done, you know that there's not sufficient oversight. Mississippi Street, almost $1.2 million was offered since 2018. We still have bricks. So infrastructure for me is going to be an area of concentration. And I know the president. The president is going to look towards the Southeast greatly in his second term. We did not succeed as a government much in terms of road construction in the Southeast. We've given out a lot of lots in the Southeast, but we need to hold people accountable so that the quality of road we want for our people, is built. So infrastructure is going to be a place of emphasis for me. I started having conversation even before now with the Minister of Public Works on some ugly things I saw. And I see that there are some improvements. So infrastructure is going to be key.
So
You are
Michael,
in the States today.
let me follow up here. Let me follow up quick. So did you say $1.2 million was allocated for Mississippi Street, you said?
For road, yeah, the Mississippi Street, and there were 2 connecting areas. The one from Mississippi Street, and their intention was to go do Mississippi and do Sinoe Street. But there was initial 1.2 million in 2018.
Here's my follow-up. Yeah. You are in born again sedition. The county superintendent is a sedition. And you are telling me you guys allocated $1.2 million and nothing is done. I mean, why should the people of Sinoe County still believe in you? Because you guys are the ones in power now, and for the first term, we are neglected. And you say, you know, you're work for second term. The first fool, you're not E. And the second one, you're E. Why should we believe you guys?
So let me tell you the effort we've made. Because of where I sit, I'm not an advocate. My advocacy will not be on the radio. My advocacy will be reaching to the people in power. I had a meeting with the Minister of Public Works. Some of the legislators were involved. Some of them even wrote the Minister of Public Works questioning the work. The company that took that contract is SSF. So SSF took that contract. We questioned him. The last 6 months, he started opening up other areas inside the Sanders Street, Johnston Street, and other areas. He started doing additional work. They explained to us some of the constraints they have, but imagine since 2018, it was only in 2023 that he came back to do some work. But that is where the oversight will be required. The money being spent by Golden Vermilion, our tax money, on the road from, or Greenville to Weah Town, and the one from Greenville to Tajowan, we see that the money that is being invested and the quality of work do not match. They do not match. And the further I can say this to you as a ceditian is to tell you that we are being honest. You ask me, why am I leaving the 5 years job to go for a lawmaker job? As a lawmaker, I can question the action of these people and compel them to do it. But as chairman of the Commission on Small Arms, or now the Commission on Arms, I can only go to my colleague and talk to them. So that would be the difference between my current role and my future role. And the roles I'm talking about are in Greenville District. They are in Greenville District. Golden Vermilion over the last 6 years has put almost 2.5 million in roles. The road from Greenville to Weah Town, and the road from Greenville all the way going towards Bajike in Grand Crew. We have to do sufficient supervision, because the money that is being put to infrastructure development does not match the work that is being done. And we are suffering the brunt of it.
So,
we have to hold these people to account.
Maxwell, there's the comment somebody said, Laura, you also need to ask your political leader in Alice Sonnenborn Noah, who is the current port director. So my question is, you spoke of your district, and the port is in your district. Do you think the port director is performing to your expectation?
So I have not been into port management, and it would be very unfair without looking at his term of reference to grade him. If I were to compare him with his predecessor, I think he has done a better job. Because let me tell you, his predecessor in the county, we know the stories of the past. They were not familiar stories. In many years, we have.
I'm not calling you. Do you call this a better job? These are the buildings at the port. Is that a better job?
So that's why I say I cannot fully evaluate him, because I have not done an independent assessment in the port. So I don't want to. But if we're to compare his leadership with the past, you realize that today, in terms of what government gets from the port today, is far higher than what government got from the port 6 years ago. So you could grade in many respects. So for him to be able to improve the infrastructure, the port is not an isolated institution that it does not have autonomy. That would be the real word. The port does not have autonomy. So the collection is done and sent to central administration. You as manager will have to insist and push for a portion of that money to come back to ensure that the infrastructure are improved.
Yeah, but
that is where.
Do you think the man is advocating when the buildings they look like this, and he has president houses all over the place?
This is very unfortunate, and there is where, as a legislator, I'm going to help whoever will be port manager. I will ask them to bring this kind of challenging situation at the legislature. I will invite the head of the port authority. I will look at what is coming from our port. One of the places I will also emphasize is that there are a lot of people using Kino for transportation and undermining the revenue that should actually come to our county. If they should otherwise use Kino as transportation, we must ensure that the economic value of the goods they are transporting, they contribute to the revenue. This is not something I'm going to close my eyes on. But we will work with the authority, whoever sits at the port, whether it is Stoney Boy or his successor, or whoever that will be, and we will get the head of the National Port Authority to say this is what Sinoe contribute to your revenue. But what we are seeing in return does not match what we are contributing. So instead of me just holding the port manager liable, I must first investigate whether or not the National Port Authority has made the budgetary allocation available for renovation work and the money has been squandered. If that is the case, then I'll hold him liable. That's why I don't want to jump the gun. But I don't think the port is in a good state.
Okay, I mean, quickly, I mean, we wanted that you've been on for a while, 2 hours. I think that's enough. But I just want to follow on something here.
Yes, sir.
You seen the picture right here? I mean, they got guys on Sinoe Forum, they got teams, and they put you and Senator Tiaje. I mean, are you with Team Tiaje?
Okay, so thank you very much. Obviously, I have been one person trying to recruit Senator Tiaje to support the second term bid of Ambassador Weah. You know, he has been a Unity Party person, and he's a very strong voice that we did not want to leave out. So Team Tiaje has, in solidarity, supported my candidacy as well.
Also, you are with Team Tiaje?
I have been the lead person to recruit Honorable Tiaje to support the effort of President Weah, and Team Tiaje has as well been in solidarity with me. So,
but Master, I don't get it though. You say I mean, the county, you talk about the lawmaker, Senator Tiaje is a senator that covers the entire county. And you just point out all the ills things are wrong in the county. I want to know why you are in solidarity with Milton Tiaje. So given that he was declared guilty for corruption and all those different things. Are you pro-corruption?
So first, there are 3 persons contesting to be senator.
Right.
One is in Greenville District. And he has declared for a representative candidate already. You see, this is politics. And for you to do the good things you say you want to do, you have to win the election first. So the Greenville District representative are declared already for candidate in my district. Honorable Zaza, who is like an uncle and big brother to me, has been providing support to my other big brother, Honorable Weah. You know, so politically, you got to align in a way that you have advantage to win as well.
So because he's supporting Weah, that's why you want to weigh your Tiaje.
Jack, you know, one day you will come to the politics as well. For you to do all the good things you want to do, you got to win first.
Yeah, I understand, but you have to set a good example. This guy cannot be declared guilty for corruption, and you are aligning yourself. So it terrifies me, for example. Maxwell is in bed with somebody who was declared guilty for corruption and looting our county. So then it sends a wrong message to me.
So first, honor our laws, and I always say to people, I hold people liable for action, and there are consequences of the action thereof. I will support that thesis statement from you, where it is proven that whatever money he was held liable to refund, if you can prove he has not refunded that money, then it will be, you know, it will be very disingenuous for me to associate with him. When you read a GSC report, he was held for misappropriation of public fund. He was asked to restitute the money.
Did he?
For you to he was asked to restitute the money.
We have been asking for evidence and nothing to that effect. So how do we
so it's
know?
not for me. Okay, I agree with you. So it's not for me to provide that evidence. It is for his opponent to put him, you know, to question him and compel him to provide that evidence. But, you know, in the event he has not settled that legal liability, he will not be qualified to contest. If anyone who is contesting against him can prove that he has not sufficiently certified the legal liability, like in the case of Brandon Samuka, one of the reasons why Brandon Samuka could not take office is because the government of Liberia put on Brandon Samuka an obligation which created a legal liability. And that legal defect prevented him from taking office. So if you have the fact that he has not settled...
So Maxwell, being somebody who is closer to Senator Tiaje, did he show you the evidence that he paid our money?
I have not requested of that evidence.
Why not?
Because obviously he has said over and over and again he has made good the payment.
Maxwell, you are a lawyer who believes in evidence. You want compelling. You use the word compelling. Is it compelling to just hear from Senator Teji and you believe him?
Well, in this case, that first, the greatest argument about Senator Teji making good this payment should be on account of those who do not want to see him re-elected. Because let me tell you the strength they have. If they can prove that he has not paid, he will not be qualified.
No, it's not a burden. I mean, the man were on an indictment when NEC qualifying anyway. So
so in this case, his inability to pay will create a legal defect.
No, but the law, Master, I'm not quoting you. You said the law are not enforced in the country, and so we can't use that as a reliance. So we are saying,
but the law was used. The law was used to prevent Honorable Samuka from taking his seat. So there's a precedent case now. So those who believe that he has not met the legal obligation of restituting that.
But do you think he met his obligation in your view? And you saw the evidence?
And that's the point I'm making to you. It has not. First, I'm a politician in this case, now a lawyer. I want to represent Greenville District. And there's a case with George Weah from Uganda. Very smart lady who was, who became president. From vice president, she became president, and she wanted to be re-elected. She was very strong on the argument of corruption, and she was pushing to make sure all those who were involved in corruption in Uganda get prosecuted. The outcome was all of the good things she wanted to happen, she did not become, she was not elected. Because you see, corruption always have a way of fighting back. Even if I want to fight, this is not the time. This is not the time. It would be extremely imprudent for me as a candidate who benefit of the largesse and political strength of Senator Teji to be the lead advocate saying, don't contest because you won't pay your money. It should be
so you benefited from him.
I'm talking about in the 2023 election, I'm going to benefit of his political largesse. He has.
And so you are reciprocating, in other words. That's why you form a team with him. I say you are reciprocating his effort. The largesse.
I cannot be the one to undermine his campaign, because what that would do, it will undermine my campaign. I'm a politician. Now,
yeah, but Maxwell, I follow what you're saying, but the man undermine the development of our county. So you put TJ over the development of the county?
Yeah. So when you make me lawmaker of the district, you will hold me accountable to hold all persons who owe the county to pay. As a lawmaker of district,
begins at home and ends. Right now, you are supporting a man who ate our money. You say he's
good. But so the man ate the money as you've claimed. The report.
No, I'm not claiming it's the report says, the GSC.
The report. I cannot argue facts. I cannot argue facts. The report says he misappropriated the money. And you should read. No, stop showing newspaper. They get report.
No, but that's a brother for the court.
No, they have report. The report said the man misappropriated. He should restitute. The man said he had restituted. So my thing is, if I were contesting against him, what I would do, I agree with the report. It's no debate. I'm not going to debate that. That's a fact.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's a fact. You can't debate the fact. But, this is not a time for me as an aspiring District 1 to be the lawyer on this case. As lawmaker of District 1, you can hold me to account to ask him. But you cannot hold me as an aspirant or a candidate. Because, the voters, as a matter of fact, some of them will become angry with me.
Maxwell, do you have children? Do you have a girl child by any means?
I have 5 children, and God gave me little boys, so I will have a lot of daughter-in-laws.
Does it bother you? Did you sponsor this to make rape the law of the land?
So, first, you have to understand the bill. Laws are made based upon conditions. We have a law on rape that says once you are accused, there will be no bail. Once you are accused.
You don't think it's a fair law?
The rape law, there are still some critiques. The rape law is a good law, but as a lawyer, like I said to you, I do have some critiques of the rape law. Because the rape law is factual in a way where, as good as you are, my brother, with all the good things you're doing for Sinoe and Liberia, if you were to travel to Liberia today and somebody accuse you of rape, just by virtue of the old law, automatically you will be charged. Once there's probable cause, you will be taken to prison and you cannot have bail.
Yeah, but
On
Marshall,
our legal,
as a lawyer, I think you guys have in the Constitution there should be rapid or expeditious trial. So I think that's the
oh, good.
provision we should push instead of
There
saying,
should
okay,
be.
let
There
make it
should be.
billable.
There should be. But our prison today, our prisons are overcrowded. We continue to see people being sodomized in
Because
violation
the
of
law,
14.
you are not enforcing the law like you rightly said. People should
And
be tried. There should be rapid trial, all right?
I agree with you.
That's why the law
So
calls
it is
for
this.
200
It is this systemic failure that should give reason for us to think again.
So
Cases
and
where
that's
they are
why I
not.
expected your Senator Milton Tejas who are done to say, okay, let the law be enforced. Let the court let decongest the
Yes.
prisons by making sure the courts are working. But the man saying,
Yes.
okay, because the courts are overcrowded, therefore people should get bail, which I think is
For
a
me,
dangerous society.
this is a controversial bill, and you know, Senator Thierry, nature is controversial. I would not take this route. I would not take this route as a legislator. There are many other issues I will prioritize. But he is Senator Thierry. He believes this is his position, and we have to respect
But
people for
Master,
their
you are
belief.
supporting the man, and that's why I don't understand. You support the man, so you are supporting rape, and you want us to vote for
God
you.
forbid, I can never support rape.
Okay,
That you
but I
know.
haven't heard you denouncing this bill or denouncing Senator Tiaji for sponsoring such a bill.
But you see, Jack, we are in a political time. It's almost like you are asking President Weah to come to Sinoe and denounce Honorable Zaza or denounce Honorable Duncan or denounce Honorable Tiaji on account of something they did wrong. Which one of the politicians will use election period to denounce people who
So, Master, what harm does
the
it
campaign?
cause you to denounce a rape bill? Or you don't want to lose the support of Milton Tiaji?
No. So this is one thing to you is, first, I don't share the sentiment of the bill. I don't believe this is the forum to talk about the bill. I'm aspiring to be a legislator. I will have the chance to talk to the progenitor of the bill. I know the issues already. We can. I told you I have critique of the bill because that bill took some innocent citizen behind bar for many years, and today their lives have become damaged. Some of them were lied on. We did not have DNA testing equipment in the country then, but you see the conditions have improved, time have improved. So some of the things that were, causing a lot of innocent people to go to jail, they may not necessarily exist today. So the conditions are different now. I don't believe in the sentiments that bill shared today, because in Liberia today we got DNA machine. A few years back we had no DNA machine. So if somebody accused a good man like you, once we cannot do the proper scientific testing, you have to go to jail. So the condition has changed. I don't think at this time the textual language of that bill should be still, So these are conversations we have. But should I condemn him doing the election now? No.
If you're a moral man, you should be able to do that.
No. So I believe in the scholastic and intellectual ability of any legislator to introduce, a proposition they believe in. The essence of intellectualism is exchange of ideas. And
but Master, I
do
think
not
that's the problem. The people intellectualize the plight of the people. Instead of seeking the interest, because they have intellectual ability, so they play politics. You kept saying I'm a politician. I run for office. Yes.
When you live in a country where there's not a single DNA machine, and then you cannot scientifically establish rape, it becomes concerning. We have had cases where almost 7 to 8 people were acquitted after spending 5, 6, 7 years in prison. So the condition, over time, the condition has changed.
No, I just put in a comment up here. I really don't know how long you have been Attorney General of Sinoe County. He's not Attorney General of Sinoe County. The city of Greenville is completely destroyed or damaged by the ocean, and the hospital isn't very good, in very good condition. And the Liberian government allocated money to take care of these facilities. So, on your watchful eyes, what have you done or been doing to fix them? Money have been provided to carry on developments. Can you please elaborate on VOSD platform? So, what's the reaction to that?
Obviously, but first you have to provide clarity that I'm not. So I'm not. But obviously, I do share, I do share the sentiments in his message. You know, there is an investment already. We have a project, an ongoing project managed by Negatus Right, in Sinoe, where the government and the partners, they are investing in trying to do some coastal defense work. What is very frustrating, Doug, is the fact that the government commitment to that project is at a low scale, very low scale. And this is something, Sinoe County, we have to unite. When we are doing the 2024 budget, we need to make sure government make concrete commitment. I mean, if you were to visit Sinoe today, you feel very terrible. We are happy that donors are committing millions of dollars to that effort, but what is the government of Liberia committing? I hope you can call Negatus Right at some point in time to talk to him.
Sure.
But this is something that is on my heart. It is something I will go for, and I will support any group of people who believe in this, because we are losing Greenville gradually. And it's something I will work very hard and fight for. I just wanted to emphasize. And Mr. Mondubu said he's from Grigsby Farm. He does not know the extent to which I'm engaged with our people. He can call back and talk to Omar, Primary Chief Francis Mondubu. Or he can talk to our good friend, Augustine, the Snondo family. Grigsby Farm and the Grigsby family, we are inseparable. If somebody today in Grigsby Farm, if somebody fell ill, there are a few people that will call, and Mr. Maxwell Grigsby will be one of them. So I'm very engaged with Grigsby Farm. I'm engaged with the young people. As a matter of fact, I've been able to provide employment. It's one thing we didn't talk about. Over the last 4 years, I have tried to find jobs for at least 45 young people from Sinoe in different areas.
Yeah, Master, that's a good move on your part. But guess what? The man that you are supporting taking 46% from payroll. You have to tell you, right? Right for Tiger One. All right, man. Let me let you do climax.
I will hope you invest in Tiger one day, so you guys can have a very good exchange.
Okay. I'll do just that. I'll be reaching out to the office, but the guys are not responding. But Maxwell, on the serious note, you've been on for a while, and I just want you to give you the time to give your closing thoughts so you can take care of other things that you want to take care of.
Thank you so much. You've helped me for a little while. The election will be in a few months. We look up to you providing this platform for all of us to be able to continue to say to the people of Sinoe and Sinoe citizens in the diaspora what vision we have for the county. We can learn from each other. One of the things I'm pushing for, and I wanted to close up on it quickly, is the fact that when you visit Sinoe, you see almost all the streets that are named after places in the U.S. But how do we benefit from it? When Uncle Jeremiah Slumter was at the U.S. Embassy, there was a whole good program for Mississippi and Africa, to the extent that scholarships were provided, and some young people from Bond County benefited. How do we work a program through some prominent citizens so that Mississippi in the U.S. has a sister city with what was called Mississippi in Africa? How do we make sure that Morrisville in Sinoe has something to connect with Morrisville in the U.S., Lexington, Louisiana, Blunsville, all these, colonial names that we call places in Sinoe? How do we ensure that people from the county can directly, through a sister city or relationship, benefit from the U.S.? So these are things I'm thinking about. We have just celebrated, our centennial program here in Liberia. We say, Liberia is almost, from 1822 to 2022, we're talking about 200 years, the bicentennial. But Sinoe, look at Sinoe history. Everything was Maserado. Look at the history of Sinoe. What can we reflect on? How do we? This is a county, almost everything for Sinoe, you can mirror that after the U.S. But what's the benefit? The Sinoe, the Union of Sinoe citizens in the U.S., they used to be so active. They were giving so much back to the country. What has happened? Is it that we are no more accountable, or things are not good with Sinoe citizens in the diaspora? So I look up to that diaspora and citizen back home interaction, where possibly we can support an annual activity that allow our people from the U.S. to come back affiliate with people back home in Sinoe, and contribute to the community. So the next 6 years will be more of exploring opportunities, coming to the U.S., visiting different states, and seeing how people contribute back home, and whatever little they give. It is not going to be business as usual where the lawmaker can take all the good thing and pretend as though he's giving it. If my good friend that gives something for Sinoe, I will return home. I will have to change. Now we have Zoom. We have this StreamYard that we are using to talk to you. When I'm delivering, I'll find a way you talk back to your people and say, that's what I have for you. I give it to your men to bring it. Because, you know, and this is some of the reasons why some of us did not become so popular in Sinoe. People will come to Monrovia. We give them money to go and give back to our people. When they go back home, they pretend as though it's their own money. And people, you know, over time, Sinoeans have become tired doing this. You leader of the country, you come to America, people give you things, you don't even acknowledge them. I want to change that culture. It is something we'll do 2024 to 2029 so that people start to give back and know that when they give to us, we'll be accountable to let our people know what they are doing for their people back home. I think it's been a wonderful show. I want to say thanks for the opportunity. And I'm internally grateful that you did not give me the very hard questions. Thank you.
Maxwell, thank you so much. Thank you. I enjoyed the show as well. I think one of the best guests so far. Yeah, I have on the show. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you.
Well, I'll bring Mr. Weah on so he can challenge what you said about him. So he addressed.
The truth be told, he's my big brother. It's just that the politics ain't hard, but he's my big brother, and I admire him a lot.
Okay. Yeah, I'll bring next show. I'll bring in Winston. I made an appointment with him already, and Winston will be the next guest. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my brother.
All right, guys. That's Maxwell Grigsby right there. The show started fine, but I thought when he started, he confirmed his alignment with Senator Terje. The people of Sinoe County, they are not going to support him anymore. That was a big mistake to support Milton Terje. No, you can't do that. You can't say you are coming to support us, you are coming to save us, and you're supporting the man that's suppressing us. Anyway, that's not what I'm here for today, but I want to say thanks to the brother for coming on and explaining things to us. There is this video that I must play before I leave, you know. You see, when you leave your parents, no matter how you think you want to separate yourself from your parents, you always, I mean, whether intentionally or unintentionally, you're going to say the truth. You know, you're going to acknowledge your parents. We have our prodigal children that went away. They don't want to identify with their parents. But again, when the parent, your parents are in your DNA, right? There is no way you can run from your parent, your biological parents. And so I saw our brothers, they went to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, to a program. And they did a good job. They did a presentation on behalf of the Disabled Association in Americas. And that was great. You can't run away from your parents, the people that made you, and you want to quarter speech for them. We will come up no matter what. And so I saw the quick video here. They did a presentation, and so we want to say congratulations to Mana Georgia, you know, the former chair lady of the United Disabled Association, Senator Osman, and to go and did a wonderful presentation. And that's what great. So I just want to share that video with you guys so that you can see, you know, you can be part of it as well. You know, we are still, our children that went away, they're still acknowledging us, and that is great. So when I see something like that, I must also come here and acknowledge it and play and share with you. You know, when they are doing good thing, I'm not going to hide it. You know, I will come here and say, oh, what he did was good. You know, going there to Sioux Falls, you know, President Francis Miles, you know, she has all the projects coming out, you know, building hospitals. So, you know, when a little organization, they send, you know, they can go there and just make a little donation. So that $200 she made, I want to acknowledge that. So let me play that video.
This evening, she has a lot of friends in the association, but because of time factor, because of the moving on and off, we all agree with, she's not able to come. And her donation should not be segmented to the donation of the Disabled Development Association. It's just that this is a women's program. This is a women's program, and she has to let the women know that she's a woman and she loves to see what they're doing. So on behalf of the chair lady, Mr. George Weah of the United Sapper Association in America.
Okay. On behalf of the United Sapper Association in Americas, I mean, that's great. You know, that's, you see that what we're talking about leadership, President Frances Clark Myers, you know, she empower everybody, you know, but the former chair lady, you know, she knows that she's still part of the union. And so she said, okay, my husband, I'm a little busy, but go over there and to sue for, you make the donation for us, you know, on behalf of the United Sapper Association. That's great.
United Sapper.
$200.
See, United Sapper.
And my man, Christopher Waller, he said, United Sapper? He said, my man, we are in your DNA. You can't run away from your people. You know, and I said, no, that. And he tried to make correction, and he also fed that Isa. Yo, listen, yo, what?
Sada. Thank you, you're powerful. Powerful, Sada.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it was an error as the Sapper Development Association in the American now United Sapper Association. It's a slip of tongue. And that was Mr. Boy Creation. What's the thing for a
So the man is still trying to run for his DNA, right? But after saying all of that, just listen to Mr. Christopher Wiley. Listen to him.
Like I said, it's Sapper Development.
You see, he's struggling. He said United. He said no. So I just want to tell you guys, you can't run away from who we gave birth to you. We tutor you. We give you all the knowledge that you need to survive. So it's not a bad thing that you have your own organization, but you cannot run away from your parent. And that's the part. That's the point I'm making here. So you struggle and you say, oh, I'm still the man male, even though the man did the right thing to acknowledge the parent organization. If you have a branch of USAA, it's not a bad. So when you call the parent's name, it's not a bad thing. So you shouldn't be struggling. Oh, United Sapper. No. I mean, come on. You start giving yourself a headache. You know, we are here to support you guys.
Association in America and now United Sapper Association. Thank you.
Thank you. Like I said, the train is.
So let me play that video without interruption.
To be here this evening. She has a lot of friends in the association, but because of time factor, because of the Liberian moving on and off, we all agree with, she's not able to come. And her donation should not be segmented to the donation of the Sapper Development Association. It's just that this is a women's program. This is a women's program, and she has to let the women know that she's a woman and she loves to see what they're doing. So on behalf of the chair lady, Mr. George Weah of the United Sapper Association in America.
All right, so that's the United Sapper Association. I want to say thanks to the former chair for the Department of Education of the USA for that wonderful presentation. All right, guys, so I think that's what we have for you. Next show, we're bringing another guy that is contesting in Sinoe County District number 1, Winston Tubador. You know, but before I go, let me share the breaking news for you. And I think I referenced it earlier, but I want to share with you. I'll be right back. So let me see the breaking news that I wanted to share with you here.
And few people.
This is the breaking news that I wanted to share with you. So this gentleman, I think he was mentioned by my special guest today, Darius. He was trying to contest in Sinoe County District number 1, but he opted out. So Maxwell Grigsby commented on the post when the guys wrote that, you know, it looks like, you know, you want to support. I don't know what the deal is, but one of the candidates, would-be candidate, is out. You know, that's Darius Jipla, I think. Yeah, the brother left the race, and we don't know about according to the post. So what we read, he consulted with his supporters and elders, and he thought that it was not expedient now to stay in the race, so Darius got the race. So that's -1 for district number 1. He's out. Now, another breaking news I must share with you before I let you go for the day is, let's see here quickly. I will be right back. All right, so welcome back to Voice of Sinoe in the Diaspora with ESOTERIC. So the Senator of Sinoe County, Senator J. Milton T.J., at one point when he was the senator, the superintendent for Sinoe County, he embezzled the people of Sinoe County development money. And so the senator does not want to be in, he doesn't want to have that record alone. And so recently he wrote, that's the communication on the screen there for you. He wrote what's it called? I think it's the Senate Pro Tem, right? The Senate Pro Tem, Abu Chief, wrote the man to complain Lee Nambuchi, the current superintendent of Sinoe County, for embezzlement. All right, so I just want to read the communication if you are not ready, so that you can hear what Senator Teji is saying. The man, he said, Lee Nambuchi embezzled, allegedly, I'm quoting the senator, 1,086,000, I think, around there. So this is why he wrote. Let me get over there. It's a little small for my old man eyes, so I want to look at it from the other device here and go through it for us. This is Voice of Sinoe, so I must share what is trending in Sinoe County with you. All right, so here, the letter written May the 25th, 2023, and he said, Honorable Abba T. Chien, President Pro Tempore, the Liberian Senate, Capitol Hill, Capitol Building, Monrovia, Liberia. That's Senator Teji talking, not me. Honorable Pro Tem or Pro Tempore, I am pleased to present compliments and bring to the attention of the Liberian Senate in section that since the 2018 budgetary year, the government of Liberia has allocated funding for county development purposes in Sinoe County for the period of 5 consecutive calendar years at USD 200,000 per year. These allocations were dispersed to the county administration by the central government, and resolutions from multiple county sittings confirm receipt of these funds. All right, that's Senator Teja talking on you. Additionally, various development projects were identified in these resolutions with costs attached to each project, and none has been implemented. Okay, that's Senator Milton Teji said none has been implemented, even though he didn't tell the number of projects, but some projects were identified, resolutions, and none of them were implemented. Besides, USD 86,000, okay, 86,000 that was inherited from the previous administration also disappeared in thin air without any form of accountability. Okay, so when you say previous administration, that was under the watch of Superintendent Prosper Brown. So Milton Teji said 86,000. Lee Nambuchi inherited 86,000 from Prosper Brown's administration. The very Prosper Brown that Teji number one time. He said, "Oh, the man are bad man. We don't want the man is not crew man. He's not a Tajo one man. He should not be superintendent of Sinoe County. You know, the man is horrible." But now he's saying Lee Nambuchi inherited $86,000 from him, and that money disappeared in thin air, according to Milton Teji. So he said, Mr. Pro Tempore and distinguished colleagues, it will interest you to know that since 2018 up to the present, there has been absolutely, Milton Teji talking, absolutely no report on the implementation of any project, thereby necessitating the need for financial accountability of the U.S. $1 million paid to the local administration, keeping in mind that these allotments were intended for the implementation of critical infrastructure or infrastructural development projects in various parts of the county. Congruent with the above, I am therefore requesting the plenary of the Liberian Senate in section to mandate the General Auditing Commission, GAC, to conduct an urgent forensic audit of both the county and social development funds from 2018 to present. Okay, that's Milton Tiaje. Let me complete this communication for you or for us. You say here, and as the Senate, I can recognize the word is kind of low, tiny. As the Senate, okay, as the Senate prepares to investigate my it's a report of these aforementioned conditions, I, as senior senator of Sinoe County and the principal proponent of this call for such a probe, I'm inviting concessionaires, I think, operating in Sinoe County to formal conversation about those reports of discriminatory practices in the ranks and files of these companies. All right, sorry guys, these are not clear, so I'm kind of struggling a little bit. Congruent with the above, I'm inviting, okay, I think it's another communication where you're inviting GVL officials to come to the office for another questioning, something he also has issue with. I think that's what the other communication is for. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, so far right now, that's what we have for you. Lee Nambuchi, the senator, the superintendent of Sinoe County, Milton Tiaji said he squandered $1,086,000 of our development funds. Projects were allocated, they were approved, and nothing was done, according to Milton Tiaji. I don't trust Milton Tiaji, but our people say where there is smoke, there is fire. And it is true. I mean, my guest, Maxwell Grigsby, also confirmed that nothing has been done in Sinoe County, and money has been allocated to our county. So what has the superintendent been doing with the money? And these are some of the questions I wanted to ask him the other day, and unfortunately, he did not come on. And for whatever reason, we did a background preparation and everything else, and then on the time for the show, I couldn't get hold of him. So I mean, maybe the superintendent will give us the opportunity again. He will come here to explain what Senator Teji is saying is true or false, to clarify, to defend himself. All right, that's what the platform is here for. But I want to say thank you so much for joining Voice of Sinoe. Our next show, we're bringing Winston Tobado is the next guest. He also running against Maxwell Grigsby in District Number 1. We will also reach out to former Superintendent Romeo Weah to defend himself. His opponent just said the prior election, he did not get sufficient vote in certain areas, and therefore the people will not vote for him. Basically, that's what he was saying. So we'll give the former superintendent the opportunity as well to come and explain to us and why he wants to be our representative after trying at least 5 times. All right, that being said, I'm out for the day. Thank you. And we will talk again next Monday. All right, let's see the Sinoe County Premier platform here. We want to say thanks for following or watching. I'm out.